A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A steady flow of drugs is coming into your city. The prime buyers are juveniles. Weeks of effort fail to turn up any lead to the source. Your job? Find it.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, January 10th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Wallers. My name's Friday. We were on our way back from the cell block, and it was 9:47 a.m. when we got to the interview room. Felony section.
Sit down there.
All right, Morley, you want to tell us?
About what?
Why you're here.
It's on the booking slip. You saw it. We'd like to hear it from you. It's no go.
You won't tell us.
I'd like to, but I can't.
All right, let's go over it again.
From where?
The beginning.
Where were you picked up? Corner 5th and Main.
For what?
Cop said I had a handful of pot.
Did you?
Well, he found it, said it was mine.
But it wasn't.
No.
Where'd it come from?
I don't know.
How much you turned?
A couple of joints.
And you don't know where it came from?
You heard it once.
Morley, you think that story's going to hold in court?
I got to tell the truth.
Yeah, well, why don't you start?
Okay, you win. Get your notebook out.
Go ahead.
I just got out of the movie, triple feature. Spent the whole afternoon in the place. Time I left, it was dark. I walked up to the corner trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this guy come down the street, running fast. He came right at me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to bang into me the way he was running, not looking where he was going.
Yeah.
Now, get the picture. I'm standing there minding my own business, and here comes this fellow, perfect stranger. I never saw him before in my whole life. He runs right up to me, and he gives me a package. He just hands it to me and says, hang on to this. I'll be right back. After that, he left.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I know, a car pulls up, 2 cops get out. I got a chain on. I'm brought in here.
That's the way it happened.
That's right.
You didn't know anything about what the guy was giving you?
No.
You like to tell us what this fellow looked like?
You mean the one who gave me the package?
That's it.
He's a tall one.
Mm-hmm.
About 12'2".
Mm-hmm.
Pure green hair. He wore it in kind of a crew cut. You know, short?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have any trouble picking up a guy like that.
You think you're doing yourself any good with this kind of an attitude?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm trying to give you the story.
All right, Morley, you just pulled the top in. We got you made and you know it. Officer shook down your house this morning. We found a couple of pounds of manicured Mary over 56. We don't need your word to nail you. You've already had it.
Then why are you rousting me now?
We want to know where it came from.
I buy it from a fellow.
The one 12 feet tall.
That's right.
Let me see your arms, Morley.
What?
Come on. You've been this way. Roll up your sleeves. All right, now the other one. How long you been off?
Boy, somebody tell me what's going on around here. This place is full of crackpots.
You got a question hanging, Morley.
Well, the answer ain't here.
You know where to find it.
All right, I'll lay it out. I bought the grass. I bought it from a couple fellas I know.
Who are they?
You've had it.
Only part way.
Well, that's as far as I go.
You afraid of them?
I'm not afraid of anybody.
Then why not give us the names?
I wouldn't be able to find a place on the street.
We'll build a wall around you.
No, they get through.
We'll be in front of you.
Well, you'll get hurt.
Why won't you tell us where your marijuana connection is?
I won't be a finger.
They're pretty good friends, aren't they? These men you're protecting, they think a lot of you, don't they?
I guess so.
So much that they'll let you sit here while they're on the outside.
I'll get out.
It'll be a while.
Yeah, but when I do, I'll stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be able to walk around, look them in the face.
Sure you will.
They'll know what I did. I carried the beef. They'll know.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't look too close. You'll see them laughing at you. Kenneth Harris Morley was returned to his cell and held to answer charges of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony. Frank and I went back to the office, no closer to the source of marijuana that had been flooding the city. In the past 3 months, juvenile crime had risen sharply. Neighborhood merchants were reporting burglaries and acts of vandalism attributed to teenagers. In talking to some of the youngsters, we found that most of the crimes were the result of tea parties. We'd been working with the narcotic detail of Juvenile Division, but even by pooling our knowledge of the drug traffic in Los Angeles, we'd been unable to come up with a head person in the operation. Arrests had taken place, but none of the people apprehended could or would tell us who was running the campaign. Known peddlers were questioned. Informants were checked and rechecked. But when all of the work was evaluated, we were right back where we'd started. Monday, 12:15 p.m., we met with Captain Walters and filled him in on the latest developments. 1:42 p.m.
That's right, Mac. Yeah. Well, we talked to him. No, he wouldn't give us time of day. Oh, sure he knows. Yeah. Well, at least a step up, it'd be something. Well, the only thing we can figure is the gun has got all the boys lined up and they're scared. Well, until we find a way to open them up, we're going to stay there. Yeah. If we turn anything, we'll let you know. Right. Bye. McTeague, Georgia Street.
They do any good?
No, they knocked over another plant last night.
Where?
Out in the valley. Guys selling drive-in style. Customers pull in the driveway, honk the horn. A couple of minutes later, the pusher comes out and makes a sale.
He said anything?
No. They talked to him for a couple hours. Won't even admit he's in California.
How's he explain the plan?
Doesn't try to. Says the weed's his, just won't tell where it comes from.
Yeah, another dead end.
Yeah. I'm beginning to think we've seen everyone in town.
I get it. Narcotics Friday. Yeah, that's right. Yes, I remember. Is that right? You name it. Well, it's 1:45 now. How's 15 minutes? All right, we'll see you there. What's that? Smith, my partner. You know him. All right, see you there. Right.
What do you got?
Remember Hugo Kenley?
Kenley?
A mule we talked to last year on the Redford thing?
Oh, yeah, little guy, kind of nervous.
That's right.
What about him?
Says he wants to see us.
Yeah.
He's got info on some heroin that's coming into the country.
From where?
European stuff. 3 kilos, over 6 pounds. Frank and I left the office and drove out to see Hugo Kenley. A year prior, he'd been instrumental in aiding us with the apprehension of the gang bringing heroin in from Mexico. Because of his cooperation, he'd been placed on probation, and neither of us had seen him since. On the telephone, he said he'd meet us in a small restaurant down on Spring Street. When Frank and I entered the place, we saw Kenley in one of the rear booths.
Right there.
Hi, Mr. Friday.
Hugo, you know Frank Smith.
Sure. How are you, Mr. Smith?
Hi, Kenley.
All right, Hugo, what do you got for us?
You got to promise one thing.
What's that?
I'm a mile away.
All right, if that's the way you want it.
Well, it's got to be.
All right, go ahead.
The way it came to me was a rumble, nothing for sure.
Yeah.
About 3 weeks ago, I tagged a place out in the south end of town. Stop in there once in a while for some fish and chips, you know, when I can eat.
Yeah.
Well, there was a couple of guys at the bar, and we got to talking. One thing led to another. All of a sudden, we're buddies.
You say this was 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Got so I'd drop in every night, shoot the breeze with them. A couple of times we went out together, had dinner, hit a couple of strip joints on Western, you know, moved around.
Yeah.
A week ago, one of them took me home. I got sick, and he said he'd drop me off, told me it wasn't out of his way. So we stopped at a drugstore, and I got some pills. While we were there, he had a cup of coffee. We got to talking.
Yeah.
He wanted to know if I'd go to work for him.
Doing what?
Pushing.
H?
Yeah. Said they were expecting a shipment in, good stuff, European. Said as soon as it got here, they'd want to unload it fast. Said I could make myself a couple of bills.
When's the stuff come in?
I don't know for sure. Sometime next week, the way they talked.
You said something on the phone about it being a good-sized shipment.
The word I got was 3 kilos.
Cut?
No, they're going to do that here.
You know who's shipping it?
No, I figured it'd be better if I didn't show too much interest.
Yeah.
These guys are using agates. They don't want to lose.
What can you tell us about them?
2 of them.
They the guns?
Well, I don't think so. Somebody else has got the keys. They're just along for the ride.
What about the names?
Milo Goff and Drew Franzen.
They stood before?
Yeah.
On what?
Milo's fallen for 211. Drew's had a couple of 459s and 245s.
Any big time?
Milo's seen the joint.
What about Franzen?
Yeah, Q and Folsom.
They owe any time now?
They didn't say.
What about jobs?
Nothing. They wouldn't work if it was against the law.
Who else is in with them?
Well, they're it, as far as I know. They got a lot of mules pushing grass for them now, all waiting for the heavy stuff.
Anybody know who the power is?
No, even Milo and Drew don't talk about him. Just now and then they mention the man, that's all. The man.
Anything about him?
Nothing you can tie down.
They talk to him?
Not with me around.
You know where they sleep?
I'm not sure. Mama said once they had a pad over on Adams.
Mm-hmm. How'd they pick you? Why'd they open the door for you? Well, you set them up. They're pretty hinky. Why ring you in?
Well, I told you we got to talking when we met. We had a couple of friends we both know.
You in the business?
Yeah.
How come they didn't call one of them?
And they want no part of a needle. They don't want anybody with them that might cop. Guess they figured I was safe.
What do you want out of this, Hugo?
Huh?
Where do you draw your play? You're not dealing for free.
And this time, I don't like what they got planned.
What?
You get the whole town sliced up. You're going to set up distributorships. Get the route started and then bow out. Figured the shipment will get them going.
You said something about grass, too, didn't you?
Yeah.
There's a lot of it around town now. Did it come from the same two guys?
Most of it. They really got it made. Going to go big time. Make a killing and get out.
Where's the weed coming from?
I don't know for sure.
Same gun behind it?
The way they talk, yeah.
You can't tell us anything about it?
No.
All right. You want to give us a description of this Milo and Drew Franson?
Sure.
Everything. Where they live, what they eat, who their friends are.
It's going to take some time.
We got it.
Yeah, I figured. Okay, if we go someplace else to talk?
Sure. Where?
It don't make any difference. As long as it's out someplace. I don't want word to get back to them.
All right, let's go.
You know, there's only one way you're really going to nail these guys.
Yeah?
Join them.
You want to set it up?
You asking?
It's your idea.
Yeah, but I don't want any part of their action. I told you they play too rough for me.
Well, you know how we can set up a contact?
Who?
One of us.
Who's going to know?
Nobody else.
For real?
If you want it that way. Now, how about it?
A long way round.
Well, you said yourself it's the only way.
What happens if they find out?
We'll be there.
I'm not worried about that.
Well, what?
Will I?
We left the restaurant and drove over to MacArthur Park. Kenley gave us complete descriptions of the men he knew as Milo Goff and Drew Franson. We made arrangements to meet with them again the following day, and then Frank and I went back to the office. We ran the names and descriptions through R&I, and we found that both men had records listing charges of robbery, burglary, and assault with a deadly weapon. A check through our file showed that neither of them had been involved in narcotics operation before. We checked their friends and the places they were known to frequent. Every place we went, we ran into the same wall. Nobody had talked to us. The following day, we met with Hugo Kenley again and outlined a plan to introduce me as a narcotic buyer from out of town. Kenley said that it'd take some time to make the arrangements, and we set up another meeting for Saturday, January 15th. Frank and I began to make plans for my going underground. I established residence at one of the better hotels in downtown Los Angeles. Through Captain Walters, I was able to obtain the money necessary to put up the front. Friday night, Frank and I met in the hotel bar to go over the final details of the operation.
Anything from Hugo yet?
No. The way we left it, he's going to call in the morning.
I don't like it, Joe.
You know, if there was another way, I'd take it.
I still think we ought to keep a tail on you.
No, the way Hugo's laid these fellows out, they'd spot it for sure. Anything goes wrong, they'd be gone before you could come in anyway.
Yeah. The skipper doesn't think it's good either.
Neither do I, Frank. If you've got an idea how we can pull it off without taking the chance, let me know, will you?
Yeah.
All right, let's go over it again.
Okay.
We lay it out that I got to see the stuff before I buy, the usual thing.
Yeah.
Once they show, I call you.
Mm-hmm. I've got the money.
That's right. You hustle over to where we make the meet.
Mm.
Now, if I get the chance to call before the buy, I will. Otherwise, you'll know I got hung up.
Okay. I'll be home. You got the number.
Yeah. As soon as I have any information, I'll try to get it to you. You can relay it to the skipper, all right?
How are we going to know if there's trouble?
When I phone, if I use your first name, you'll know everything's all right.
Yeah.
If I call you Smith, don't waste any time. Get there, and get there as fast as you can.
Okay.
You got the ID for me?
Okay.
What do you got?
Well, here's the driver's license. A couple of hotel receipts from up north, all made out to Jerry Whitner.
Jerry Whitner.
Mm-hmm. Here's some letters, phone book.
Where'd you get the numbers?
Jules Zimmerlin dug them up. Bars, hotels, a couple of places that ran a book in the Bay Area.
Looks all right.
Yeah. I hope it works.
Anybody from the office in the hotel?
Yeah. Luke's in the lobby. They took one of the rooms on your floor. A couple of men there. We've got the place covered as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're inside, we can see you. As soon as you go through the door, you're by yourself.
You continue to make it sound good, don't you?
Not leaving anything out, Joe.
No.
You going to have dinner here at the hotel?
I figured to. There's no reason to leave.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going back to the office.
All right, see you in the morning.
I'll be here.
Okay.
As soon as I hear you left the hotel, I'll get home and wait to hear from you.
Yeah.
Try to keep us posted, huh?
Yeah, well, this isn't the first time, Frank.
Well, it looks like the roughest, though.
Comes off, it'll be worth it. 3 kilos. Pure heroin. You know what that's worth?
I don't know what they think.
Yeah.
I know what it's going to cost you.
The next morning at 8:46 a.m., I got a call from Hugo Kenley. He said he'd set it up for me to meet the 2 men. I was to pick him up at the corner of 7th and Broadway, and then together we'd drive to Milo Goff's. I went down to the lobby of the hotel and made arrangements to rent a car. As soon as it was delivered, I put in a call to the office and told them what had happened. After that, I left and picked up Kenley. He directed me to drive down the Harbor Freeway and then turn off onto Figueroa and on down to Imperial Highway. On the way, he said that he told Goff and Franzen that I had gotten into town from San Francisco and was in a position to take their entire supply of heroin. From what he said, the deal looked good. We cut off Imperial and turned left to Grand Avenue. Kenley told me to turn north and drive to the corner of Grand and 113th Street. We parked the car and walked the remaining half block. The house was well kept, white stucco. In the front yard, there was a child's tricycle and a playpen. We went up onto the porch and rang the bell.
Come on in. Milo, this is Jerry Whitner, the fellow I told you about. Hi, Jerry. Glad to know you.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Get you anything? Drink, cup of coffee?
No, nothing for me.
Where's Drew? Not to get something for breakfast.
This your house?
You don't even know that.
Not important.
Well, let's just keep it that way.
Okay, let's deal.
You're in a hurry, aren't you?
I don't have a lot of time.
Maybe you want to go too fast.
If I buy, it's the way it's going to be.
Not with us.
Okay, see you later.
How about the money?
As soon as you show the H, I'll make a call. Scratch will be delivered.
You won't have it with you?
Oh, you're out of your head. You know me better than that. I'm not going to carry a pocket full of money around so somebody can walk off with it. Where do we make the meet?
You get a call.
When?
Day after tomorrow.
Nothing you can do to speed it up?
Nothing.
Okay, I'll hear from you.
Yeah.
This going to be the place?
We'll tell you that, too.
You play it pretty tight, don't you?
You want to stay in the game.
Yeah. You want to go back with me, Hugo?
Sure. No reason you have to leave, is there?
Nothing to keep me.
Okay, have it your way.
I usually do.
You talk big, Whitner.
It's the way I work, too.
You got a big mouth.
Now, look, punk, I don't like this deal. None of it. You can't deliver. You don't know for sure when the stuff is going to be ready. You talk big, but it don't fit. I've seen cheap operators like you before. Don't make any difference to me how you talk, but you better be able to come through. Anything goes wrong with this deal, and I'm going to come looking for you, fella.
You scare me.
The only reason I even talk to you is I think maybe you got something to sell. If it's what you say, I want it.
You got the money, we can make a deal.
Let's leave it there. Come on.
Yeah. We'll give you a call.
You do that. Don't make it later than you said.
Keep the money handy. We get through with this, I want to get out of town. I got a date Monday night. I want to keep it.
You will. I went back to the hotel and waited. Monday morning, I got another call from Hugo to tell me that the meet was to take place in the hotel lobby at 10:45 a.m. From there, we'd go to where the buy would be made. I got in touch with Frank and told him what had happened. He said the hotel was covered, also the house on Grand Avenue. He went on to say that other officers would be standing by for my call to bring the money. As soon as the buy was made, all of the people in the place would be placed under surveillance in the hope that either Goff or Franzen would lead us to the head man in the operation. 10:36 a.m., I went downstairs and met Hugo Kenley and Milo Goff. We talked for a few minutes while we waited for Franzen to show up. Goff told me that the buy would be made in an apartment out in the Hollywood area.
As soon as Franzen gets here, we'll shove up.
I got time to make a call.
To who?
Man with the money. Tell him to stand by.
You got to be told?
You want the money, don't you? I want to make sure he's there.
Go ahead.
I'll be right back.
Go with you.
All right, come on. Got a dime?
Yeah. Here.
Thanks.
Make it snappy. Now, here comes Franzen.
Just take a minute.
Where you been?
Had to see the man, get the package.
As soon as Jerry finishes here, we can move.
This the guy?
Yeah, why?
You bonehead. Dumbest trick I ever heard of.
What do you mean?
All right, mister, put your hands down by your side. Make a move and I'll blow your spine
What
out.
are you doing? What's wrong?
This friend of yours.
What about him?
I know him. He's a cop.
Drew Franzen told me to stand up slowly, and when I did, he moved in and took my gun away from me and directed me to move out of the phone booth and across the lobby to the hotel. I did as I was told.
Keep your head front, cop. Walk a line.
You got it wrong.
No, I haven't. You're May. I ran into you a couple of years ago. You hung a pinch on a friend of mine. Name's Friday, isn't it? Joe Friday?
You're doing the talking.
I didn't have any part in it, friends, and you got to believe that.
You make it hard.
Where are we going?
Outside. After that, we'll tell you.
You know you're not going to make it.
I don't see anything to stop us.
From here, I can see 5 guns.
You've been using bad stuff.
All right.
Keep moving.
Take him, Roxy.
Hold it right there, Francis.
Get some hands off of me, cop.
Come on.
I'll take that gun, Francis.
You think you're pretty smart, don't you, cop?
You figure.
Huh?
I'm not going to jail. Suspects were searched, and then they were taken to the First Street station. In Franzen's pocket, we found a check from a parking lot. Sergeant Roxy Lucarelli and his partner checked it out. And going over the car, they found the heroin. Frank came into the office, and we talked to Drew Franzen for over an hour without getting anything out of him. He was booked in at the main jail. 12:14 p.m. We had Milo Kenley brought to the interview room.
Isn't going to do you any good, you know.
Is that right?
Sure, I'm not going to tell you anything.
You don't have to. We know you plan to set up a distributing organization.
No, you ought to write this.
We sent a couple officers out to your place. They found a list of names.
I got a lot of friends.
Most of them have narco records.
I like different people.
We're going to talk to all of them.
Call first. Some of them move around.
You'll tell us nothing, huh?
What I got to say, you've had.
Okay, but I want to tell you something.
I can't turn it off. Go ahead.
You know, when I first met you, I thought you were pretty smart. Looks like I was all wrong.
Yeah?
You got to be thick in the head to take a beat by yourself.
It won't be long.
You better check the Narcotic Act again with the new laws. We got enough on you to lose the key and the cell number.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it comes out in court.
You're going to be there all by yourself.
What about Francis?
He's out.
What do you mean?
Just what I said. He isn't here.
Well, where is he?
I wouldn't know.
Is this true?
Left here about 20 minutes ago.
Bail, huh? Is that how he made it? Well, it won't hurt to tell me that.
He isn't here. All we got is you.
Well, what about me? Nobody put up bail for me?
I didn't see a line anywhere, did you?
You're not lying.
We don't even have to talk to you, fella. I just figured that you wouldn't want to stand all by yourself.
You sure got good friends, Goff.
Who sprung him?
I don't know.
Well, the guy had to leave a name.
Maybe. We didn't check.
It was Bert. All the odds in the world it was Bert.
Maybe. I told you I don't know.
It had to be. The only one to do it.
You'd know that.
Guy didn't say anything about getting me out, huh?
Not to us.
Call somebody with a book. You said you wanted a statement. I'll give it.
I'll check.
Can't figure why he'd do it.
What do you mean?
Bert, he's the man, the guy who set the whole thing up. The only one who'd go bail for Franzen, the only one. Sat back and didn't want any part of it. Let us do the work, make the connections, plant the pushers and mules. We did it all. He just sat back.
You got any idea where we can pick him up?
Yeah. Still doesn't make sense. Why'd you leave me here?
You keep asking the same question. I don't know.
Lousy deal. Leave me to stand for it by myself. A real chintzy.
Sure is.
Big Bert. Sitting in his house while we do the work. Taking the biggest cut. Everything's the best with him. Best house. Best car. Best clothes. All his suits tailor-made.
That's so.
Yeah. You won't put a suit on his back. It isn't special made.
They'll find something that'll fit him.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 14th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Milo Harold Goff, Drew Walter Franzen, and Bert Michael Lorimer were tried and convicted of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony, is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 10 years in the state penitentiary.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb.
A presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's transcribed story, A Fire for Romano.
It started with a little man with deep wrinkles in his forehead and troubles on his mind. Then there was a kid traveling fast in a hot rod. And then there were two women. One who didn't deserve to die, but did. And another one who did deserve to die, but didn't. It was a sunny, healthy Chamber of Commerce Tuesday that I wandered into my boss, the Lyon's office. Got a surprise. No Anthony J. Lyon. Then I remembered he was on vacation. Yeah. It's made it look like an even sunnier, healthier Tuesday. Let's see, the beach or the track or... That was before the door opened right behind me, and the aforementioned little man with wrinkles walked in.
Mr. Regan?
Huh?
You are Mr. Regan, the detective?
Yeah.
Please, Mr. Regan, I need your help. Could you help me?
I'm afraid I didn't get your name.
I am Romano. Elio Romano.
Well, sit down, Mr. Romano.
Thank you. What do you say, Mr. Regan?
Very nice fit. What? What's that? Oh, just the chair. Fits pretty good.
The chair fits?
Yeah, my boss is on vacation. I'm just trying out his chair.
I see.
Yeah. Suppose you tell me about your problem. You're needing help, Mr. Romano.
Oh, yes, Mr. Regan. It's true. I do need help. My store. It's my store.
Store.
I have a smaller grocery store. It's on the 6th Street. It's my own little store, and I'm very
Romano,
proud.
What about the store?
Oh, such a nice little place where people may buy food. We got everything, my Maria and I. We are the proprietors of this store. We also own it.
Fine. Now, what about...
It's called the Romanos. We have a big new neon sign. My someone is trying to destroy my store.
We're making headway. Tell me about the someone.
I don't know this someone. If I should get my hands on them...
Somebody breaks windows?
No. They tried to burn it down. They tried to burn my store.
When?
Last week, Thursday.
Did you call the police?
Yes.
And then what?
Well, they said there was an accident. They said I did this to my own store. Ma questa è una cosa che... Oh, mamma mia.
And you're sure it was no accident?
Mr. Regan, would I destroy the one thing Maria and I have given our lives to make? Would I so much as harm a single little glass window? No, I would not.
Where'd the fire start?
In the back room where the cans are stored.
What time of day?
Night. It was at night. My Maria and I, we sleep above the store. My Maria smelled the smoke, and together we put out the fire before the damage could become great.
Mm-hmm. That's the only time it happened?
No. The day before that, I found a light match in the waste basket. It was just as I was closing for the night. Well, I stopped this one very quick.
2 nights in a row. You're right, Romano. Doesn't look very accidental.
Oh, believe me, Mr. Regan, I would never do this to my store. Never.
Okay, Romano. I believe you. Suppose you and I run out there. Take a look. The little man with the wrinkled brow got in the car beside me, and we drove out 6th Street, past Alvarado, past Union. We parked in front of a small grocery store with a big neon sign over the door. Sign said, very proudly, Romano's. And my client, Romano, glanced at it, nodded approvingly, and we walked in.
Oh, Elio, you're back safely.
That foolish woman. Of course I'm back safely.
And this is Mr. Regan, the detective.
See. Mr. Regan, my wife, Maria. You're a very foolish woman.
Elio, twice said too much.
How do you do, Miss Romano?
What a pig of a husband. If you worry about him and he says so, he call you foolish. If you do not worry about him, he say you don't care.
Maria, Mr. Regan is going to help us. He promised he will help us.
You told him everything, Elio.
Maria, please.
Everything, Elio. You promised me you would tell Mr. Regan everything.
See.
Well?
Suppose you tell me, Mrs. Romano.
See, Maria. Suppose you tell me.
Elio. Mr. Regan, in the first place, you must know that we do not have much money.
See, very little, Mr. Regan.
In the second place, you must know we do not have many friends.
See, very few.
Now, we'll work out the money later, Miss Romano. Tell me about the friends now.
Maria, tell me.
We believe certain things, Mr. Regan. We run our business our own way, and no one can tell us otherwise. We believe in being our own boss.
Mm-hmm. That's why you have very few friends?
See, that is why.
Mr. Regan, please, come with me. Right away, I'll show you where the fires start. Please, come with me.
Romano led me into a small back room behind the counter. There were shelves filled with canned goods and paper cartons. He showed me the waste paper basket near the door. Easy to toss a match in through the window above it that opened onto the alley. There were a few charred pieces of wood here and there, but very little damage had been done. Still, if everything Romano said were true, it didn't look like an accident. It was while he was pointing out the burnt wood that a customer came in the front door. I moved over toward the doorway and listened.
Well, we'll see about that when I tell my neighbors.
It was then that things began to get interesting. I looked out. Plump, smug-looking woman, carrying a heavy purse, her eyes glaring behind rimless glasses.
That's your idea, eh? To force as many people in here as you can? Well, there certainly must be some law against people like you. Please, Mrs. Wilson. I just wanted to make sure, that's all. And I must say I got what I came for.
What was that all about, Mrs. Romano?
Oh, Mr. Regan, you heard.
Maria, what has she said to
Quiet,
you?
Romano.
Mr. Regan is right, Elio. It was enough.
It didn't sound like nothing, Mrs. Romano. What'd she mean by tell my neighbors?
No, we will not talk of it.
See, we will talk of it. Mr. Regan, this woman, this is Mrs. Wilson. She used to be our best customer. Then she turned on us. She tells all her friends not to come to our store.
Why?
Why? Because who knows why?
Oh, you have started it. Now you will finish, Elio. She does not buy from us because we would not let her tell us how to run our store.
See.
That's all there is to it?
See.
When did this start?
A week ago.
Oh. Same time the fires started.
See, the same... But, Mr. Regan, you don't
You
think
hired
that...
me to think, Romano. I'll see you later.
Mr. Regan, where you going?
To talk to Mrs. Wilson. If I moved fast, I could find Mrs. Wilson. If I could find her, I could talk to her. She had answers, plenty of them. Plenty more than the Romanos gave her credit for. And then I saw her, a block away, walking fast. I followed. Around the corner, she turned up the walk and disappeared into a 2-story apartment house. I was right behind her. The mailbox out front said 208, and when I got there, the door was just closing. A knock.
Yes?
Could I talk to you for a minute?
Young man, if you're selling
I'm not
something...
selling anything.
Then what do you want?
Just a couple of questions, Mrs. Wilson, about the Romanos.
Oh, so that's your game, is it? You're trying
I'm not
to tell
trying
me...
to tell you anything. We'd just better talk now, for your own good.
You go back and tell those people we don't want them around here. We don't want them in our neighborhood. Is that clear?
That's as good a place to start as any. Now we'll just...
Oh, no, you don't. You're not coming in without a warrant. I knew you were a policeman right away. They called you, those Romanos. Just like them to take advantage of our Constitution. But I know my rights as a citizen.
Lady, I
haven't broken any laws, you understand? It's them that cause all the trouble, them. And we don't want their kind around here. Now, good day.
So I had nothing after all. I got in my car, drove down toward police headquarters. And it wasn't that easy. Because behind me, starting at Alvarado, was a yellow Model A Ford. A yellow hot rod, and it wasn't behind me by accident. It stayed there 2 blocks, 10 blocks, 20. And whoever sat behind the wheel didn't care if I knew it. He stayed that way until we reached a block without traffic, and then suddenly the yellow car gunned up in the rearview mirror. And I could see a young kid hunched angrily over the steering wheel, and there wasn't any doubt about what a kid like that had on his mind or what he was going to do. He moved the car up close, next to mine, and yelled something angry kids yell, and suddenly his yellow coupe shot out ahead and cut into me. Like I figured. He tried to run me off the street onto the sidewalk. And now the yellow coupe was just a blur in the distance. I pulled off from the curb, eased into gear, and took my time driving to the police station. The police told me to check with the arson squad. The arson squad told me to check with the sergeant. And to make a rotten day just that much rottener, the sergeant turned out to be a guy I knew, named Gould.
All right, what do you want, Regan?
Transferred from homicide, Bowles?
I don't need any of your lip today, Regan. I'm busy. What do you want?
You handle the Romano investigation?
Romano? Who's that?
Just a poor guy who happens to own a grocery store.
Romano. Yeah, I checked it out last week.
Find anything?
Sure. Scared little guy ought to watch where he tosses his matches.
That's all you could find.
When I want your advice, I'll ask for it.
Give, Bowles. I'm busy today myself.
Times must be tough, huh, Regan? You're taking a fee from a
Answer me, Bowles.
Okay. The guy had a fire. Know what caused it? Matches. Know the total damage? $10. Now, Regan, if you think we got enough men to stake out a 2 big...
Ever hear of putting out a fire before it starts, Bowles? You wouldn't have heard that.
I told you we haven't got enough men, Regan. Sure, we'd like to prevent it. Okay. But you need men, Regan. We haven't got them.
Okay, Bowles. What have you got?
There's no evidence of outside work.
Meaning what?
No evidence that anybody else started it, Regan.
Spell it out, Bowles.
Sure, I'll spell it out. Maybe somebody did start the fire on purpose. You know who gained by that, Regan? No, don't guess. Let me tell you. A character named Romano.
Bowles, if you think...
I didn't set it up, Regan. Somebody else did. For your information, this client of yours, Romano, has his grocery store well covered. You know what they call it, Regan? Fire insurance. Lots of fire insurance.
And that's what I got from Sergeant Bowles. I left the station, drove down to a chop house on 3rd Street, had myself a big dinner, and tried to think. And it wasn't that easy. Ideas would fit together during the salad and go to pieces during the steak. By the time I got to dessert, it was anybody's guess. I paid the blonde waitress and drove out 6th Street, watching the streetlights go on and hoping one of them would shed some light on the problem. And when I got past Alvarado, I didn't have time to think. I stepped on the gas, drove faster, into streets becoming crowded, alive, into confusion and fire engines, into shouts and smoke. A man in a fire helmet directed me over to the side of the road, and I parked and got out and walked into the excitement and confusion and heat, and into a sweaty, curious, open-collared, open-mouthed, hot-eyed, staring mob, and there were shouts all around me. Hey, Joe. Hey, Edna. Hey, Pete. Come take a look. Romano's, the grocery store, burning down.
This is CBS, and you are listening to tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator, entitled A Fire for Romano.
A little man named Romano had hired me to find out who tried to burn down his grocery store, and I'd met an irate customer, an overworked cop, and a kid in a hot rod. Now I was back on 6th Street, back at Romano's little store, and there was a mob of excitement-hungry people yelling and cheering and shouting, while flames licked up the store walls and around the big new neon sign Romano had proudly shown me. And I was moving into the mob, trying to get closer, when a big burly man covered with soot and sweat shoved me aside.
Hey, stand back, will you please, mister?
Have you seen the owner?
Too many people to see anything, mister. Out of my way.
The big fireman moved on, and I followed him, letting him clear a path through the spectators, and up ahead I could see another big man. This one I knew.
Stand back there. Oh, Regan.
Rand, have you seen Romano, the owner?
What's he look like?
A little guy, dark hair, mustache.
Don't control, Regan. I haven't seen anybody. Better...
Fire Chief Rand's shouts were lost in the crowd behind me as I moved and shoved and pushed my way around to the side of the burning grocery store. Somewhere in there was my client, Romano, and his wife, Maria. And then, stumbling out through the smoke, came a fireman. And he was dragging a man, a little man, coughing, spitting, screaming. It was Romano.
Easy. This is the man you were looking for, mister.
Maria, let me go, please. Let me go.
Romano, it's me, Regan.
Let me go in the name of God. Please let me go, Maria. I must get to my Maria.
You take him, mister. I'll go back for her.
Right, I got him.
Regan. Mr. Regan, where is she? They left for my Maria.
Take it easy, Romano. They'll get Maria.
They must have saved her. I'm going to get to Maria. I'm going to get...
I pulled the little man away from the smoke and heat and people and stretched him out on the pavement. In a few minutes, his breathing became regular and the coughing stopped, and he slept. And 10 minutes after that, the big fireman came out with Maria and placed her on the pavement beside her husband. Only Maria wasn't coughing or breathing. She was dead. The ambulance took Maria and Romano away. The fire hissed steam where the firemen's hoses poured gallons of water. And soon even the crowd had lost interest. And only the hissing steam and smoke filled the cavity that had been Romano's grocery store. Fire Chief Rand came over to me.
Did you find him, Regan, that man you were looking for?
Yeah, Rand. I found him.
He okay?
Yeah, he'll be all right. Not his wife.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Regan. We did the best we could.
I know. Rand, what started it?
I was just checking. So far, nothing conclusive.
You think it was an accident?
No. Went too fast. This one was planned, Regan.
Pyromaniac, huh?
I'm not too sure. The nuts usually stick around. Watch it. They get their kicks that way.
Check the crowds?
We always check the crowd. Nothing certain yet.
Okay, Rand. Thanks.
Regan, when you see Romano, tell him we did our best.
I left Rand examining the charred scraps of what was left of Romano's grocery store. I walked down the street, thinking, putting the twos with other twos and trying to make fours. And then I saw something up ahead, and I forgot about the twos and fours and moved faster. It was a yellow Model A Ford parked 3 blocks from the scene of the fire, sitting quiet, docile, far from the nearest streetlight. I got to it, started to look in. It was the car that had tried to run me off the street. It was...
Get away from there, mister.
I turned, saw a kid. The kid who'd driven the car into me. In his right hand, a revolver.
Come on, get away from it.
You like guns.
They get me things. Come on.
You also like matches.
Shut up.
You also like killing people.
Right!
He blinked when I said killing, and I drove across the sidewalk at his knees, and we went down together, rolling on the pavement and digging for the gun. And it was anybody's weapon until I felt the cold steel of it pressing between us. Saw the barrel moving up under my chin. Heard the report. Kid was gone. I was holding a sticky, damp spot above my left ear, and when I pulled my hand away, it too was sticky and damp. I got up, rocked unsteadily on my feet, stumbled down to my car. I reached for the ignition, pushed the starter, and decided to wait. Voices and faces, and voices and lights, and a big blank wall to stare at. I waited, not being sure, and then I opened my eyes, and the blank wall was the ceiling, and the face was Sergeant Bowles. Who said it was just a scratch?
Lay down.
What's going on around here?
Said lay down. You want to hurt something or something?
Bowles, your humor stinks. Where are we?
Georgia Street receiving.
Huh?
Only why Rand had bothered.
Rand brought me here.
He found you in your car. You were out. Way out.
Romano. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's okay.
His wife, Maria. Does Romano know?
Yeah, he knows.
Bowles.
Yeah?
You still figure Romano burned his own store down?
Shut up.
Like you said, Bowles, who would gain but Romano? Who, Bowles, who?
Okay, so I was wrong, okay. We did our best.
After the crime. What did you do before it happened, Bowles?
Slow down, Regan. You're racing your motor. Besides, suppose you answer a couple of questions.
Okay. Just ask me. Bowles asked me, and I told him. And he folded his notebook and he walked out. I got up, checked my legs and the bandage over my left ear, glanced down the hospital corridor, and walked out. 30 minutes later, the cab let me off where I'd last seen that yellow coupe, and I began to check garages. And the first one I checked was behind the apartment building where Mrs. Wilson lived. And I got nothing. 30 minutes after that, I'd covered her side of the block and was on the last apartment across the street. 4 garages, side by side. First Chevy, second Dodge, third Ford. Not a new one. It was a coupe like the yellow one I was looking for, only this was black. Shiny black. Shiny black. That was worth something. I moved into the dark garage and looked closer at that Model A and reached out and touched the shininess and brought my finger back fast. Sticky. Wet. Newly painted.
What are you doing back here?
Short, fat, with a flashlight beam in my eyes.
Come on, speak up. What's your business?
Turn off your light.
Not a chance, mister. I'm on
I said turn it off.
Hey!
Whose car is this?
None of your business.
I said whose car?
This is my property, mister. You...
Stop!
It ain't my place to give out information on my tenant.
Oh, the owner lives in your apartment?
Well,
Does he?
Well, I rent that garage, mister. $5 a month.
But the guy who owns the car doesn't live here?
It ain't no guy, mister. Woman pays the bill.
A woman? A plump woman, wears rimless glasses.
Yeah.
Her name's Wilson, Mrs. Wilson.
Say, that's...
Thanks.
Hey, you ain't got no right to ask me questions.
I moved around the building, across the street, double time up the stairs, up to the place I'd been earlier in the afternoon. It was late now, very late. But whether she liked it or not, Mrs. Wilson was getting a caller. I leaned on the buzzer, stayed on it. And midnight or not, Mrs. Wilson was going to answer if it took me home.
What's the meaning of this? The very idea... Oh, it's you. Well, see here.
I'm coming in, Mrs. Wilson.
I won't have this, you. I'm calling the manager. That's what I'm
I'm
going
coming
to do.
in, Mrs. Wilson.
You policemen have no right to disturb peace-loving citizens.
I'm not the police, Mrs. Wilson.
You're not the police? Well, investigate.
Not this time.
Get out of my house, do you hear? Get out of
Shut
my...
up.
And what do you want?
Your son. If he is your son.
You're playing crazy. My son is out of town.
Really?
He's been gone since yesterday. He's visiting his aunt.
That right.
He left on the train for Santa Barbara. That's where my sister lives. Tommy left yesterday morning.
Tell me about Tommy.
He's a good boy. There's nothing he's done wrong. What right have you
What right
got?
have you got covering up a murder?
Murder?
Sure, murder, Mrs. Wilson. When your kid set fire to Romano's store, somebody was killed. The law can call that manslaughter, Mrs. Wilson, but you and I know it's murder.
You're lying. You're making
Why,
it up.
Mrs. Wilson? That's all I want to know. Why? Why did you knowingly let your kid set fire to that store? What kind of a distorted brain...
You shut up! What those people got, they deserved. We don't want their kind in this neighborhood. We've got our rights.
Who's we?
Citizens. Real American citizens.
Oh, Romano's not, is that it?
There's no place here
I think I'll just look around, Mrs. Wilson.
Where are you going?
Look around. Something brought this business to a boil.
You stay out of there!
Ah, I wasn't going in. But since you made a point of it... Kitchen.
You get out of here.
Now, why would you care if I looked in your kitchen, Mrs. Wilson? Interesting. Very interesting.
You've got no right to come in
Coffee,
here and...
sugar, soap, lots of it. Let's see. Say about 2 dozen cans of coffee. A couple of cases of soap. And there's the sugar there.
I paid for it. It's my right to buy what I want. Romano can't tell me
so
what
that's
I'm supposed...
Romano tried to tell you how much you could buy.
No dirty, filthy foreigner is going to tell me what I
That's
can...
right. You're an American. A real patriotic American.
Right.
The Constitution says you've got a right to buy as much as you want any time you want. You've got your rights. Remember you telling me that.
So I'll thank you to keep your nose
Your
out
kind
of my
belongs
business.
behind bars, Mrs. Wilson.
What?
Your kind can't eat off the same table with Romanos. Your kind belongs out back in a pig pen, where you can wallow in your soap and coffee and sugar and greed.
How dare you?
Get back with the pigs, Mrs. Wilson. Somebody left a loophole in the Constitution.
Why?
Stand right where you are, mister.
Well, that makes it complete.
Oh, Tommy. Oh, my Tommy.
I thought I stopped you once, mister.
Oh, he said such horrible things, Tommy. He said such terrible
I won't be
things.
saying much when I get through with him.
When you get through with what?
Oh.
Haven't you killed enough for one night?
Killed?
Mrs. Romano's dead. Dead from the smoke and flames and hate your mother cooked up.
Oh, no. I wasn't going to kill her.
Sure, just a little fire. Burn them out of the neighborhood. It's your mother's idea.
Oh, Tommy, don't let him talk to me that
Sure,
way.
they always start that way, just a little hate. But it builds, doesn't it, kid? Starts with a fist, ends up with guns, lots of them.
But, Tommy...
I didn't mean...
Go on, shoot, kid. Make the neighborhood safe for Americans. Your mother's kind of Americans. Kind that breeds hate and greed and gets fat doing it.
Tommy, make him stop.
Shoot, kid. Go ahead, prove she's right. That you can kill because you're special like she is.
Tommy!
Give me that gun. The gun. Gun. Thanks. There must be something in the Constitution that fits you, Mrs. Wilson. And there was. Murder, arson, whatever you want to call the crimes of Mrs. Wilson. You might say she was fighting for a fifth freedom. The freedom of grab. And she won. The right to spend the next few years grabbing the bars of her own private cell. The next morning, I checked in down at the office of my boss, Anthony J. Lamb. Empty. Anthony J. on vacation. Way up in the mountains, breathing fresh air, living the hard, rugged life. Fishing, hunting, getting next to nature. And doing good. Thought about that as I sat down in his big swivel chair. Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. Regan speaking.
I have a long-distance call for Mr. Jeffrey Regan from Mr. Lyon in Mammoth Lakes, California.
Okay, I'm Regan.
The call is collect. Will you accept the charges?
What else? Okay, operator.
Jeffrey! Is that you, Jeffrey?
Al, Lyon, how's the fishing?
What's that? Oh, terrible connection. I can't hear a thing.
I said, how's the fishing?
Fishing? Oh, yes. Fine. Wonderful. Spend every minute out on the lake. Open air. Exercise. Just a minute, Jeffrey. Certainly I'm in for $5. Deal, Charlie. Yes, really roughing it, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yes, generally fine weather. Just what I needed. All this outdoor exercise. Pardon me, Jeffrey. These fishermen keep asking advice. I've got aces over queens. Sorry, gentlemen. My part again. That's why I called you, Jeffrey.
Fish biting that good, huh?
Biting? I've never seen so many suckers, fish in my life. You practically have to fight them off. Jeffrey, this exercise is doing me so much good.
Yeah, Lion.
Do you mind if I stay another week?
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is written tonight by William Krug, produced and directed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arad. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard transcribed each week at the same time over CBS. Bob Stevenson speaking, and inviting you to be with us again next Sunday at 8:30 for more suspense and mystery and adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the burglary detail. For the past month, a hot prowl artist has been working the Silver Lake district in your city. Your job? Stop him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 12th. It was sunny in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the business office, and it was 4:31 p.m. when I got to room 45. Burglary.
Been reading about it in the papers. You know, little items here and there. Not front page stuff, but it started me thinking.
Sure. Oh, hi, Joe.
Hi.
Mr. Birch is my partner, Sergeant Friday.
I do.
How are you, Mr. Bircher?
Pretty good, pretty good. Except for my feet. They're killing me.
Oh?
That's just a little joke amongst us mailmen, Sergeant. Somebody asks us how we feel, we say our dogs are killing us. It ain't necessarily the truth, but it's what folks expect to hear, so we don't disappoint them.
Yes, sir. What was it you wanted to see us about, Mr. Bircher?
I was just telling your partner here, Smith, is it?
That's right, sir.
Well, I was just telling Mr. Smith my mail route's out in the Silver Lake district.
Uh-huh.
You know, where they've been having them burglaries lately.
Yes, sir.
Sure, it's a shame. Nice part of town, quiet, residential. Nice people, too. Been delivering their mail for the past 12 years.
Is that right?
Get to know folks pretty well in that length of time. Now, you take Mrs. Davenport. Lives in the 700 block on St. George Place.
Yes, sir.
The minute I gave her her mail last Friday, I could tell something was wrong. She didn't even glance at her postcards. That was the tip-off.
Yes, sir.
Told me somebody had sneaked into her house that morning, stole $20 in cash and her diamond engagement ring. Said she left it on the sink when she started doing the breakfast dishes. Went in the other room to answer the phone. That must have been when she was robbed.
Mm-hmm.
You already heard about Mrs. Davenport being robbed, have you?
Yes, sir. We talked to her last week.
Oh, you're the fellow that's come to see her about it?
That's right.
You had any luck yet?
How's that?
Catching the fellow that robbed her.
No, sir, not so far.
Well, I don't know whether this will help you out or not, but I thought I ought to tell you about it anyway.
About what, Mr. Bircher?
Well, it happened twice to my knowledge. Twice in the last 2 weeks. Once just this morning. That's why I come down here as soon as I got off work.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mrs. Perkins on South Maltman that happened to today. Said she walked down into her kitchen, and there he was, big as life.
Yes, sir.
Stranger. Complete stranger. She asked him what he was doing there. He said he was from the light company. Come to repair her electric stove.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, Mrs. Perkins don't have an electric stove.
Mm-hmm.
Fellow apologized, said he got into the wrong house by mistake. Mrs. Perkins didn't think nothing about it and just happened to mention it when I come by with the mail. I didn't think nothing about it either, not at first.
Yes, sir.
Then I remembered same thing happened to Mrs. Johnstone over on Scott Street. 10 days ago. Found a man from the light company standing in her kitchen. She hadn't sent for him either. He said they'd given the wrong address. Now, it just don't stand to reason the light company'd be sending people to the wrong addresses all the time.
No, sir, it doesn't.
Got to thinking about them burglaries. Mrs. Davenport and the ones I read about in the papers. Wondered if there wasn't some connection.
Well, it might be. It's the way a hot prowl artist works.
Hot prowl?
Daytime burglar. Operates when the victim is apt to be in the house.
Oh.
Would you give us their addresses, Mr. Bircher?
Huh?
The two ladies you were telling us about?
You mean that found the fellow from the light company in their kitchen?
Yes.
Mrs. Perkins. She lives on South Malton, number 201. Mrs. Waldo Perkins, that's her full name.
201. And the other lady?
Johnstone. Mrs. Nellie Johnstone. She's a widow lady. Her address is 1247 Scott Street, corner of Scott and Brandon.
I see. Thank you.
Would you mind showing us just what your mail route covers, Mr. Bircher?
Huh?
On the map over here. Would you come over here?
Oh, sure. Sure.
Here we are.
Starts here.
Mm-hmm.
Down this street like so, then over here. This whole section. These streets here, down here.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I end up.
I see.
Mm-hmm. That's the right area, all right.
Yeah.
Anything else I can do for you?
No, sir, I don't believe so. We appreciate your coming in.
Figured out I ought to help you if I could, seeing as how we both work for the same boss.
How's that?
The taxpayer.
We checked with the utility companies, and they told us that they had made no recent repair calls in the vicinity of the addresses that Mr. Bircher had given us. 5:46 p.m. Frank and I drove out to 201 South Maltman. It was a one-story stucco bungalow set behind a white picket fence.
Well, it's about time you... Where are the flowers?
Ma'am?
Aren't you from McAdams Flower Shop?
No, ma'am. We're
they
from the...
promised me they'd have them here by 5. Promised faithfully. Oh, you just can't depend on anybody. Well, what is it?
We're police officers, ma'am.
Police?
This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
You, Miss Perkins?
Well, yes, of course. Who do you think I was?
We'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Oh, what on earth about? Please, I'm in an awful hurry. I've got 16 people coming for dinner.
Just a couple of questions, please. It won't take us long.
Oh, all right. I suppose you might as well come in.
Thank you.
It isn't about Waldo.
Ma'am?
My husband. It isn't about him, is it? Not on top of everything else.
No, ma'am.
I don't know whether I'm coming or going. I'm just not up to a big dinner party anymore. I shouldn't have tried.
Yes, ma'am.
We understand you had a visitor this morning, Miss Perkins.
Visitor?
A man who said he'd come to fix your stove.
Oh, yes. Now, how on earth... Oh, that mailman. I ought to know better than to tell him anything. He spreads it all over town.
Yes, ma'am. You hadn't sent for an electrician, had you?
Oh, certainly not. If anything was wrong with my stove, I'd send to the gas company. It's a gas range.
Well, could you describe him for us, please?
Describe him?
That's right.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, what did he look like? Was he tall or short?
Oh, I hardly even looked at him. He's just an ordinary man.
I see. How old would you say he was?
Isn't this kind of foolish?
Well, we aren't sure yet, ma'am. Do you have any idea of his age?
Oh, youngish, I guess. About 30.
Mm-hmm. How was he dressed?
I'm afraid I don't remember.
Well, did he have on a uniform of any kind?
No uniform. Suit, I think. I didn't pay much attention.
No scars, anything like that?
Well, not that I noticed. Might have.
Well, just what did he say to you?
Well, just that he'd made a mistake, that he was in the wrong house, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any kind of an accent?
No. He sounded like a plain, everyday American to me.
I see.
Do you think you'd recognize him if you saw him again?
Oh, I don't think so. If it had been some other day when I wasn't so busy, when I didn't have so much on my mind...
Yes, ma'am. Did you notice where he went when he left here?
Out the back door.
Did he drive away?
I really haven't any idea. If you're so interested in the poor man, you better talk to Margot.
Margot?
Mrs. Summersby, my next-door neighbor. She was doing some gardening this morning.
I see.
I suppose she saw him, too. There isn't much that gets by Margot. She's a little on the nosy side, if you know what I mean.
Yes, ma'am. Which house is hers?
That one there.
I see.
Now, I've just got to get back to my dinner. I haven't even started the salad yet.
And just one more thing, Miss Perkins.
Well, what is it now?
Is anything missing from around the house?
Missing?
Yes, ma'am. Money or anything of value?
Why, no. No, of course not.
You sure, are you?
What on earth are you driving at? A man makes a perfectly honest mistake. Next thing I know, the police are bothering me. You'd think he was a criminal or something.
I'm sorry we troubled you, Miss Perkins.
I just don't understand it. People come here all the time, day in and day out. Some of them have the right address, some of them have the wrong one. Spend half my life answering the doorbell.
Yes, ma'am.
What's so special about this fellow?
He didn't ring your doorbell. We left Ms. Perkins and went over to talk to her next-door neighbor, Mrs. Summersby. Mrs. Summersby told us that she'd spent most of the morning in her garden transplanting begonias. She also said that she remembered seeing a stranger enter Mrs. Perkins' house about 10:30 a.m.
I don't think he noticed me. I was down on my hands and knees behind the hedge.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking it was kind of odd the way he just walked in. Then I decided it's probably somebody about the party she's giving tonight. Delivery man, somebody like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see him leave?
A couple of minutes later, he came backing out, headed out toward the front of the house.
Do you have a car?
Well, I suppose so.
You aren't sure?
No, I just assumed he did if he was a delivery man.
Mm-hmm.
Could you describe him for us, Mrs. Summersby?
Doesn't Mrs. Perkins know who he was?
Well, she isn't sure.
Well, she must know what he looked like.
Well, we'd like to check your description against hers, if it's all right.
I suppose she was a bit vague. I'm not surprised. She doesn't have a very sharp eye. She can't see her nose in front of her face.
Is that so?
And the way she's been carrying on about this dinner party, well, it's a wonder to me she even remembered the man.
Yes, ma'am.
You'd think if she could entertain 16 people, 2 more wouldn't be any extra trouble.
How's that?
All her talk about just having friends of her sisters. That's who the party's for. Her sister from Cleveland. They're out here on a visit.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse, that's what it is. To get out of inviting Rex and me. Well, she won't need excuses in the future. Our relationship will be on a somewhat different basis.
Yes, ma'am. Now, if you'll just tell us about the man you saw this morning.
Oh, him.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, he was good size, tall as you are, maybe. A little heavier. Late 20s or early 30s, I'd put him.
Mm-hmm.
Dark hair, needed a haircut. Nice looking. Not real handsome or anything like that, but good looking.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember how he was dressed?
Coat and pants. Don't think they matched. Not too sporty, though.
I see.
Walked real fast, brisk, like he was in a big hurry.
Yes, ma'am. Anything else?
No. No, I can't think of anything.
Has he been around this neighborhood before?
No, a stranger to me.
Would you recognize him if you saw him again?
Don't see why not. Oh, excuse me.
Surely.
Hello? Yes? Oh. That's too bad. Uh-huh. Well, I don't know. Oh? Well, I suppose you do, but... Oh. I see. All right. Bye. Mrs. Perkins.
Is that right?
Says the Barringtons can't come. Mr. Barrington's got virus. Wants me and Rex to fill in at the last minute. Well, if you're all through, Sergeant.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I'd better start getting ready.
We told Mrs. Summersby to get in touch with us if she saw the suspect in the neighborhood again. We also told her that we might need her assistance in making an identification from mug shots. She offered to do all she could to help us. 6:48 p.m. Frank and I canvassed the vicinity for anyone else who might have seen the suspect. We were unable to turn up another witness. 8:06 p.m. We drove over to Scott Avenue and interviewed Mrs. Nellie Johnstone. Mrs. Johnstone stated that on Monday of the previous week, a strange man had entered her kitchen. He claimed to be from the electric company. He apologized for coming to the wrong address and left immediately. Her description of the suspect tallied with what we already had. The next day, April 13th, we checked the description in the M.O. with the stats office. They came up with 3 possibles. We took the names to R&I and pulled their packages. 12:08 p.m., we went back to the office.
What do you think, Joe?
Well, from these mug shots, it could be any one of them.
Yeah.
I better try for an identification.
Who do you want to start with?
Doesn't matter. Miss Perkins again.
Okay. Wonder how our party went last night.
I got it. Burglary Friday. Where did it happen? Yeah, that's the neighborhood. How long ago? I see. Right, thank you. Looks like we won't need Ms. Perkins. I just brought a lady into Georgia Street who lives out in the Silver Lake district.
Yeah.
Found a man going through a purse in the bedroom, tried to stop him from getting away.
Mm-hmm.
He slugged her. We drove over to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and talked to Dr. Sebastian. He told us that a Mrs. Violet Castle had been brought in for treatment. He said she had a bad bruise on her face and a slight concussion. He also said she hadn't lost consciousness and was able to talk to us.
Miss Castle?
Yes?
Police officers, ma'am.
Okay.
We'd like you to tell us what happened, if you would.
I told the others when they come to get me.
Yes, ma'am. We'd like to hear from you.
Well, he was just standing there by the dresser. I couldn't imagine where he come from.
Uh-huh.
I didn't say anything for a minute. I was too surprised. He didn't seem to know I was in the room. His back was towards me.
What was he doing?
Well, I couldn't tell, not at first. And then I heard a little snap. Just a click.
Mm-hmm.
I realized he was opening my purse.
Yes, ma'am.
Started fumbling at the things inside. I must have moved or something. Anyway, he looked up, saw me in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes opened up real wide, like he was scared. I remember thinking he's more scared than I am.
Did he say anything?
No, sir, not a word. I did all the talking. Told him to put down my purse. Put it down, I said. Tried to sound real sure of myself.
And what happened then?
He dropped the pocketbook, turned around toward me. I don't think he had a gun or anything. If he did, I didn't see it.
Yes, ma'am.
He just started running toward the door. I moved over so as I'd been in his way. Where do you think you're going? I said.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't answer. He just pushed past me. I grabbed at his arm, and that's when he hit me. Here, where the bandage is.
I see.
Must have struck the chair when I fell. The doctor tells me I'm going to have a real bump. Guess everybody will be saying Violet Castle sure got the swell head, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't faint, though. I thought for a minute I was going to, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I heard him run out of the house like I heard a wild horse's way pounded out there. Managed to get to my feet, made it to the telephone in the hall, and called the police.
Mm-hmm.
They sent an ambulance for me. Got there real quick. First time I ever rode in an ambulance.
Is that right?
Oh, I've had my share of sickness. I've been in hospitals and all that, but I never had an ambulance ride before.
Yes, ma'am.
Siren, too. Siren going all the way down here. Now, I thought I must be pretty bad off. They had to use a siren like that, but the doctor says it's usual.
Mm-hmm.
He told me I'd be up and around again in a few days, be my old self, except for my lump. It'd be a while before a lump like that goes away.
Do you think you could identify the man who hit you, Mrs. Castle?
Identify him?
Well, yes. If we showed you some pictures, could you pick him out?
Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm afraid not.
Oh?
It isn't that I wouldn't know him, you understand, him or his picture. I'm not likely to forget that face.
Well?
Too dark in here for me to look at any pictures. Way too dark. Doctor said they had to leave the blinds down for the time being. Told me not to turn the light on.
I understand.
I'm sorry I can't be more help, but the doctor left strict orders.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll check on it, Joe.
Thank you.
Always believe in following doctor's orders.
Yes, ma'am.
No use paying the doctor unless you do what he tells you. That's how my husband always used to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm not paying anything here, am I? But that's what they told me.
Yes, ma'am.
I explained I wasn't a charity case. I got some health and accident insurance. I guess you'd call this an accident, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm not sure. I imagine so.
Dr. Sebastian says it'll be all right to turn the lights on for a few minutes, Joe.
Okay.
Are you sure it's all right?
Yes, ma'am, said so.
Well, he was so positive before about keeping it dark in here.
Well, a couple of minutes probably won't make any difference, Miss Castle.
Well, the doctor says so.
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, sure seems bright, don't it?
Yes, ma'am. Now, if you just look through these photos.
I'll do my best. It sure is funny.
How's that?
You get me as quick and having pictures all ready to show me.
Well, we don't know that we've got his picture here.
Well, that's what's so funny.
Ma'am.
This is him, right here.
Mrs. Castle positively identified one of the mug shots we had shown her. Ralph Foster Maple. Maple had done time for burglary. The three ladies we had previously interviewed also identified the suspect's picture. 3:16 p.m. We went back to the office. The crime lab reported that there were no fingerprints or other physical evidence at Mrs. Castle's home. Frank and I checked the phone books and city directories for Maple's address. There was no listing. We ran DMV for a car registration. They had nothing under his name, but they told us that a Mrs. Ralph F. Maple at 317 Himber Street was the registered owner of a late model Nash sedan. 4:48 p.m. We drove out to interview Mrs. Maple.
Yes?
Mrs. Maple?
Yes?
Your husband in?
My husband?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm afraid you've made a mistake.
Oh?
I'm not married. Not anymore.
Oh, I see. You were married to Ralph Maple?
Yes?
We're police officers.
Oh.
Miss Frank Smith, my name's Friday.
What's he done now?
We'd like to get in touch with him, that's all. You mind if we come in?
Give me a minute to send my daughter over to the neighbors. I'd rather she didn't hear this.
You'll have to come in.
Oh, all right. Over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Go out and play, will you, honey?
What is it this time? Burglary again?
We're just trying to reach him, Miss Maple. Do you know where he lives?
No.
Is he still in Los Angeles?
I suppose so. He was here a couple of weeks ago. Came by to see Joanne. She's our daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Should have known he was up to something.
Ma'am?
Brought us presents. Expensive presents. Said he had a new job. I didn't really believe him, but I tried to for Joanne's sake.
Did he say what this job was?
Selling. Didn't mention the firm. I suppose he could be a good salesman if he'd try.
Do you have a car?
Told me it was in the shop being repaired. Came up in a taxi cab.
I see.
It's a great one for taxis, Ralph is. Big tipper, too. It's somebody else's money. I'm sorry. I guess I sound a little bitter, don't I?
No.
It was my own doing. I knew he was wild when I married him. I thought he'd change. He did. He got worse.
How long you been divorced?
A little over 2 years now. Oh, I waited till he got out of prison. I thought that was my duty, have a home ready for him to come back to.
Yes, ma'am.
Wouldn't hold down a job, didn't even try. Well, we'd managed without him while he was in San Quentin. I knew we could do it again. He's supposed to support Joanne. I haven't seen a penny in 6 months. Always brings her a present, though. It's his way of trying to get on the good side.
Mm-hmm. You know any of his friends who might help us locate him?
His friends aren't my friends, Sergeant.
Yes, ma'am.
But you won't have any trouble finding him.
Ma'am?
He'll be here tomorrow.
Oh.
It's Joanne's birthday. He'll bring her something. He'll be here.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose he does love her. In his way. Maybe he loves me, too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I love him. I was even thinking about us getting back together. If it was true about his new selling job. I guess you never learn, do you?
You're sure he'll be here tomorrow?
He won't miss Joanne's birthday. Ralph's a very thoughtful father, not the kind of man who forgets birthdays and anniversaries.
I see.
Might forget to pay his bills, but that's different.
Yes, ma'am.
It'll be quite a birthday present for Joanne, won't it?
What's that?
Her father getting arrested again.
The next day, Thursday, April 14th, we staked out Mrs. Maple's house. 3:35 p.m. A taxi cab pulled up and Ralph Maple got out. He was carrying a large package.
Keep the change. Thanks, Richter.
Ralph Maple? Police officers, just stand still.
What's going on?
He's light, Jim.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, wait a minute. Can't you tell me what this is all about?
We'll let you tell us downtown.
Well, you can't arrest a man without some reason.
Where were you yesterday?
What time?
Let's start with the morning.
Got up, had breakfast, went shopping.
Where?
Department stores, had to buy a present for my daughter. This is it right here.
I take you all morning, did it?
Yeah, most of it.
All right, come on, get in the car.
Well, if you just tell me what it is you want to know.
We want to know about a lady who's in the hospital.
Lady?
Yeah, somebody slugged her yesterday.
You think it was me?
She does. Let's find out if she's right. Come on, Maple.
Okay, she's right.
All right, let's go.
I didn't mean to hit her very hard.
It was hard enough.
Just wanted to get her out of my way.
All right. Get in.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute, huh?
Hmm?
What about this?
What about what?
My little girl's present. It's her birthday.
No.
Well, can I give it to her?
You stay where you are.
What about one of you guys? You could take it up to the door. Hey, it's not hot. You can see for yourself. The store wrapped it, see?
Yeah.
I paid for it myself.
With whose money?
Well, the least you can do is see that she gets it.
Joe?
All right, go ahead.
Here you are.
Be right back.
Sure appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a little girl, 6 today. Wouldn't understand if there wasn't a present from Daddy.
Yeah.
I never missed her birthday. Even when I was in the joint, I saw to it that she got something.
Yeah.
Wife divorced me a couple of years back. I guess I can't blame her.
Yeah.
Not for divorcing me. Had it coming. She shouldn't have got sole custody, though.
Mm-hmm.
A girl needs a father. Everybody talks about how boys need their old man. The way I see it, a girl needs him more.
That's so?
Sure, you know, they're so kind of helpless.
Yeah.
It was on account of her, Joanne. That's the only reason I done it. Little girl's entitled to pretty things. I couldn't afford them, not with the kind of dough that I made.
Yeah.
I had to get the money somewhere. I never stole much, just enough to buy her a few presents. Figured if I didn't, she'd turn against me. Being divorced and all, I figured I had to do more than regular fathers.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have given Dora sole custody. It wasn't fair. She lets me come around and visit whenever I want, but it's sort of like saying Joanne doesn't belong to me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Judge claimed I wasn't a fit father. How do you like that? Just because a man does a little time, everybody has it in for him afterward.
Yeah.
The idea is say I'm not a fit father.
You know something, Maple?
Hmm?
You proved him right.
story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 6th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Ralph Foster Maple was tried and convicted of burglary in the first degree, assault with intent to do great bodily harm, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Burglary in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years. Assault with intent to do great bodily harm is punishable by imprisonment for not more than 5 years in the state penitentiary.
Just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
This one's about Pete Kelly. It's about the world he goes around in. It's about the big music and the big trouble and the big 20s. So when they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's blues. Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Kepner.
My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. You'll find us at 417 Cherry Street, Kansas City, on the Missouri side. It's a standard speakeasy. The slot in the front door is regulation size. Just wide enough to frame a suspicious eye, and the bottoms of the shot glasses aren't quite thick enough to reach the top. It's a well-run, orderly crib, the kind of a place the local prohibition agents can bring their wives to. The lease is owned by George Lupo. He's a fat, friendly little guy who always has his hand in his pocket. We start grinding every night about 10, and we play till Lupo runs out of inventory. But that's all right with us. He lets us play the kind of music we like. And on the breaks, he doesn't care how many nickels we throw into the pianola. Our nickels, his pianola. We were winding up the second set last night when Little Izzy came in. Little Izzy's a cab driver who's been working the joints up and down Cherry Street. He's carted more drunks than Lupo ever counted in his wildest dreams, and once a week he lights a candle to Mr. Volstead. But last night, Little Izzy wasn't hauling a lush. She was a white-haired, gentle old lady, the motherly type that Mary Carr plays in Over the Hill. She looked around the crib nervous and bewildered as Little Izzy eased her down at the small table near the bar. He smiled at her as gently as Little Izzy can smile and started for the bandstand. Hi, Izzy. How's the taxi business?
Yesterday I picked her up, and I've been hauling her ever since, from barrel house to barrel house, from crib to crib. What's she looking for? A girl. What girl? Her daughter. Who's her daughter? A singer. What's her name? June Gould.
June Gould.
You know? You know this male?
Yeah, she's a beautiful girl. I haven't heard about her for almost a year. She used to sing over at Maury's.
So where's she now? You know, huh? Where's she now?
I don't know.
6-2-0. Every crib we hit, yeah, sure, I remember June Gould, but where's she now? 6-2-0.
Well, look, maybe I can... Look, Izzy, tell the old woman to wait. Maybe I can send up a flare.
Oh, thanks, Petey boy, I got it. So good.
All right.
Pete?
Let's go. Yeah, Red.
That June Gould? Beautiful gal?
Yeah.
Ever hear Nails Norton?
Yeah.
Used to torch for her with a 1,000-watt torch.
So?
Said she wouldn't give me the coffee that spilled in her saucer.
So?
I wouldn't go asking around about her.
So let's do the number, huh?
So sure.
All right. Whispering. Good and bright. Here we go. Everybody ready? All right. All right. Take 5. Use some nickels, huh, Red?
Oh, man, that Lupo, he's going to get rich off us.
Petey, this is Miss Gould.
How do you do, Miss Gould?
Miss Gould, this is Pete Kelly.
Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Kelly here said he'll take care of everything for you, Mrs. Gould.
Well, I didn't exactly say
Your worries are over now, Mrs. Gould, so I'll leave you with Mr. Kelly and good luck.
No, Izzy, wait a minute. Wait.
Mr. Kelly, I don't know how to thank you. You've given me new hope. I was ready to...
Sure, all right. Now, come on. It's going to be all right, Miss Gould. Don't cry.
Oh, I'm sorry. But it's so hard to...
Well, come on now. Let's unglue it. Tell me about it, huh?
Well, my little girl, June, she was always a very beautiful child. We lived alone in Cleveland. Her father died when she was a baby. She always had a lovely voice. She came here to Kansas City to get a start as a singer.
When was this?
2 years ago. Last I heard, she was working in a place called Maury's.
Uh-huh.
She would write to me every week. Always send me a check for support. Oh, she's a good girl, Mr. Kelly. And I'm so worried.
How long haven't you heard from her?
Oh, it's been more than 6-7 months now. No letters at all. But each week a money order. But no letter.
Each week you get a money order? From her?
Well, I don't know. There's no letter, no name. Just a money order to support me. And I finally saved enough to come here to look for her.
Yeah, I see.
Oh, I've tried everything, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah. All right, you wait here, Mrs. Gould. I'll buzz around. Maybe I can come back with some answers for you.
And, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah.
I beg you to promise me. No matter what the answers are, you tell me the truth.
Yeah, sure. Well, the way I figured it, I could have told her the truth then, without even leaving the joint. But it wasn't easy. Not when you looked into her eyes. But where were the money orders coming from? Well, I had to make a pass at it, so I borrowed Red's Erskine coupe, drove out to the edge of town where Maury's Country Club balanced itself neatly on top of a well-kept hill. Nobody could get into Maury's front door unless he showed a white tie. I got in through the kitchen and made for Maury's private office up on the second floor.
Yes?
Can I buy a minute of your time, Maury?
Come in, Pete. What can I do for you?
You remember a singer who worked for you, June Gould?
Yes. A cigar?
No thanks.
June Gould. I remember June Gould. Why?
You got an idea where she is now?
Why?
Well, I'm trying to get a line on her.
Why?
For her mother. She's in town looking for her.
I heard.
She see you?
She tried.
You wouldn't see her?
No.
Why not?
I had no information for her.
You got some information for me?
No information. But if you ask me, do I have advice, maybe that I got.
Like what?
Like stay away from this old lady, Kelly, or maybe you'll never live to be as old as she is.
Yeah, I see. Thanks. Maury?
Yeah?
Is Nails Norton still in town?
You know something, Kelly?
Yeah.
I can't figure how you live to be as old as you.
And that did it. As clearly as he could, Maury was trying to tell me to go back to Lupo's, pick up my horn, and blow myself to a comfortable old age. And I agreed with him. That was the smart thing for me to do. Go back to 417 and forget all about June Gould. So I hustled the Erskine back downtown, cut across the 12th Street Bridge to the Kansas side, jolted down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place and Maggie Jackson. Maybe more than a few people in town knew what had happened to June Gould, but if there was anybody who knew and who would tell me, it'd be Maggie Jackson. Maggie was just going into a number when I walked in.
You're just in time, Pete. I need some strong support.
Hi, Maggie.
How about helping me through one course of What Have I Done?
I didn't bring my horn.
How about Artie Hamilton's? He's in the back room. He won't mind. Here.
Well, okay. Wait a minute. You better let me try an A here. It's a little loud. Just a minute. Okay, just a second. All right, I guess we can try it.
All right. What have I done?
But now I'm bluer. Wish I knew wherever you were. What have I done to make you do this to me?
Nice, Petey. Thanks a lot.
Sure, Maggie. Here's Artie's horn. Look, Maggie, I need some information. Maybe you got an open line.
What's bothering you, Petey?
Maggie, you ever hear of a gal named June Gould?
June Gould.
Yeah, she worked over at Maury's over on the hill.
Oh, yeah. Tall, flaming red hair with real green eyes.
Yeah.
And a voice like red velvet. Whatever became of her?
That's what I'm trying to find out, Maggie.
Ain't thought about her in a long time. She just dropped out of sight suddenly. like last year's calendar.
Well, you got any idea at all, Maggie? Anything you heard?
No, Petey. Never did know much about that gal, except she used to bunk with another gal.
Who?
Dancer down at the Cuban casino. Name of Flora Acosta.
Flora Acosta, huh? Thanks, Maggie.
Sure. Good luck, Pete.
Well, the Cuban casino is a minor league trap over in Spanish Town. They deal strictly for the natives who are homesick for their own rhythm. Flora Acosta was just going into her big finish. I folded myself into a corner and waited. Miss Acosta?
See?
Can I talk to you for a minute?
What is it?
Well, it's kind of noisy out here.
Well, I'm sorry, but I just...
Look, have you heard from June Gould lately?
Come into my dressing room, please.
All right.
Hello, little bird. Oh, you're such a happy little bird. Excuse me, senora. Another costume for my next number.
Sure, it's all right.
Now, tell me, who are you?
Pete Kelly. I play cornet over at 417 Cherry.
Oh, yes. Now I know.
Well, I was told that you used to live with June Gould.
Yeah, that's right.
You know where she is now?
No.
Well, when did you see her last?
Oh, a long time ago. I don't know.
Did she say where she was going?
No, she just pack up and go. Goodbye. Goodbye, Fleur, my darling. She say and she go. That's how she was.
That's how she was?
See.
Not how she is.
Okay?
Well, you said was, like you don't think she is anymore.
Senor, I'm very sorry. You make too much English for me. Hello, little bird. Such a happy little bird.
Yeah. Do you know any of her boyfriends?
Boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, see, she has lots of boyfriends. Also many.
Nails Norton?
Okay?
One of her boyfriends, Nails Norton?
I'm sorry, senor.
Yeah, I know. I make too much English for you.
Well, she has so many boyfriends. It's very confusing.
Did you meet any of them?
Believe me, senor, it's so confusing.
Yeah, do you remember any of her
She
boyfriends?
packed all her bags and she said, goodbye, Fleur. Goodbye, my darling. I'm going to be a bride.
She was going to be married?
See, that's it, married.
Who is he?
Yeah?
The man she was going to marry.
Oh, he's a very rich man, and she loves him very much. And she's so happy. Goodbye, Fleur, she said. Goodbye, my darling.
Yeah, I know. Now, what's his name?
His name, Bishop. You have in English a name, Bishop?
Bishop?
See, Tom Bishop. Very rich man.
Do you know where he lives?
In a big house, a very rich house.
The street?
Well, I don't know, but a very rich street.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Senor.
Yeah.
How you come to me with all these questions? You make me very sad, very worried about my friend. You think she's all right?
Sure.
You will please let me know, senor? I would be very sad, very worried about her.
Sure.
Thank you, senor. Hello, little bird. Such a happy little bird.
Well, I left the happy little bird and found me a city directory. Thomas Bishop, Vice President, Grundy Savings Bank and Loans. Residence, 440 North Camberwell. Well, the house was set well back from the street, surrounded by an ornate iron fence and $1 million worth of shrubbery. I made the long trip to the front door on foot, punched the door buzzer.
Yeah?
Mr. Bishop?
Yeah.
My name's Pete Kelly. Is Mrs. Bishop at home?
What do you want with her?
Her mother's in town.
Her mother?
Yeah, she'd like to see her.
Are you sure you have the right bishop?
You're Thomas Bishop, aren't you?
Yes, but my wife's mother is dead.
You sure?
Of course I'm sure. I buried her.
You buried her?
10 years ago. I'm sorry, young man. You must have the wrong bishop.
No, I got the right bishop, but the wrong wife. What'd you do with June Gould?
Be quiet.
Afraid your wife will hear?
What do you want?
I want to know what happened to June Gould.
Please, Mr. Kelly, not here.
Police headquarters suit you better?
I beg you, come away from the house.
All right. Now, come on, tell me about it.
Mr. Kelly, I assure you...
I don't want assurances. I want information. Where's June Gould?
I don't know.
You were going to marry her?
It was a misunderstanding.
You mean you already had a misunderstanding, wife, huh?
June knew I was married, but we loved each other. We were going to run away.
And what happened?
I don't know.
Now, come on, you're going to have to do better than that.
We decided we'd made all the arrangements, and I never saw her again. I never heard from her. I searched everywhere, tried everything, but without success. Please believe me, Mr. Kelly. I'm telling you the honest truth.
And you never got a line on her? No lead at all?
Nothing. Except a vague rumor that she'd been seen with a man named Maxie Finn.
Maxie Finn? The two-bit bookie?
Yes. I was shocked when I learned what he is. I couldn't believe that she would...
Yeah, leave the great Mr. Bishop for a mouse like Maxie Finn? That's what needles you, huh?
No, Mr. Kelly. I don't blame you for thinking that. But the truth is, I loved her. She was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. And for the first time in my life, You see, I married when I was very young, calculatingly, to put myself ahead in the world. Well, my marriage gave me what I thought it would, great financial success. But I didn't realize I was only living half a life until I met June.
Yeah. Did you talk to Finn?
No, not directly. But I did have communication with him.
Cautious type, huh?
Yes. But for June Gould to spend the rest of whatever life I have left with her, I was ready to throw away all caution.
You asked Finn about her?
Yes.
What word did he send back?
Only 2. Dropped dead.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to buy your story, but if it doesn't hang together, I'll be back for another one. Well, I knew where to find Maxie Finn, at the dice table in back of Sartori's garage. I pointed the Erskine for downtown KC. Maybe Bishop's story would hang together, and maybe it wouldn't. Traffic in back of Sartori's garage was heavier than out front. The crap table was getting a big play. I spotted Maxie Finn's pasty face hanging over the $1 line.
And the number is 5. Make the point or break the joint. And the man throws. Days in the week, pass the dice and make some ice. All right, get aboard, boys. Get aboard. Get aboard.
I got to talk to you.
I'm on the roll. And the dice read. Days in the week, 7 a man's down. Pass the dice and make some ice. Everybody wins. Everybody plays. Lay it on the line. We pay it on the line.
Nothing but throw out, though.
All right, let's get over here, Finn. It's important.
What's your problem, Kelly?
Right or wrong, I go along.
All right, Kelly, I'm on the stock. My arm's cooling off. What's the hustle?
June Gould.
What?
June Gould.
You lost me.
You sent word the Bishop dropped dead.
I send you the same.
All right, come on. What happened to June Gould, Maxie?
To me, you read like boxcars. Goodbye, Kelly.
Come here. Now, where is she? All right, come on. What'd you do to her?
Nothing. I see her for maybe a couple of months, that's all.
Why didn't she meet Bishop?
She never said.
Where'd she go after she left you?
I don't know.
But you got a pretty good idea.
You got all I know. All right. Maybe I can get a line. I'll call you. I'll try and I'll call you.
All right, at Lupo's.
Yeah, I promise. At Lupo.
Just to make sure you keep your promise, Maxie, here's a nickel. If you don't use it, I'll be back to take it away from you. Well, I had to leave it that way. I knew that by pushing Maxie Finn around, I'd started something in motion. There'd have to be a reaction. Back at 417, I found Mrs. Gould right where I'd left her. She looked up at me anxiously as I went over to her table.
Any news, Mr. Kelly?
I'm waiting for word now, Mrs. Gould.
Do you think that...
Miss Gould, I don't think. This is the time for waiting. It's the toughest time of all. Where are you stopping?
The Jefferson Hotel.
All right, now look, you go back there.
Oh,
no, don't argue. No use sitting in this trap the rest of the night. Get yourself some rest. I'll call you as soon as I get word.
All right, Mr. Kelly. I'll do as you say. Somehow I feel you're the only one who could help me.
All right, Miss Gould. Bye. All right, let's hold it down. Hold it down.
Come on, Petey. Let's get with it. We lost all our business without a nickel.
All right. What's up?
Blues and B flat.
All right, I'll give you the pickup. All right.
Petey.
Yeah.
Nails Norton. Heading this way.
Yeah.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Come down off of there.
What for?
This. Now you forget all about June Gould, see?
Next time I drop you, you won't get up ever.
Well, I pulled myself together from all corners of the joint, raced for the Erskine, walloped it downtown to Sartori's garage. I felt no pain, nothing but a wild, flaming anger. I had all my connections, from Maggie to Flora, to Bishop, to Finn, to Nails. Finn to Nails Norton. Finn kept his promise all right. He'd used the nickel, but not to call me. The crap game was still hot, but Maxie scented lamb. I tore around town and finally caught up with Finn in the back room at Joe Donegan. He saw me coming, turned a dirty gray, and tried to duck out the back. He never made it. The first word I threw at him was a right from the floor. All right, Maxie.
Please, Kelly. Stop it, Kelly, stop it.
All right. You called Nails Norton.
I had to.
You told him I'm looking for June Gould. Now, give me the truth.
725 Baltimore.
Louder.
June. 725 Baltimore. The truth, Kelly, the truth. 725, room 6.
All right, Maxie. If you ain't leveling this time, I'll break you in two. 725 Baltimore was only 3 traffic violations away from Joe Donegan. It wasn't much of a place and never was. I found room 6 on the second floor. I rapped on the door and waited. I rapped again. The door was opened wide. First thing I saw across the room was something propped up in a chair. It was all wrapped up in a quilted bathrobe that the house dog probably refused. Long, lifeless hair straggled down onto the shoulders. It must have been a woman, but I wouldn't swear to it in a court of law. You couldn't tell by the face, a mass of gnarled, scarred tissue, the mouth pulled into a permanent, fixed grin. A bottle of gin was held on a broomstick hand. The first shock over, I looked at the man behind the door. That was the second shock, the one I didn't get over. Nails Norton.
All right, Nails. Tell him to come all the way in.
Go ahead.
You got a strong stomach, Kelly? Says if you ain't, you better look the other way. Nails here. He's got a good, strong stomach, ain't you, Nails?
Yes, June.
Yeah, I'm June. June Gould, the beauty.
Yeah.
Well, you finally found me, Kelly. So take a good look. Something to remember on those long nights when you can't sleep.
What happened?
He wants to know what happened there.
This isn't good for you, dear. Let me take you
I'll
away.
tell him. Acid. That's what happened.
Who?
Tom Bishop's wife.
But he doesn't know.
Nobody knows. Except his wife, Maxie Finn and Nails. Now you. Yeah. She knew about me and Tom. She came before I could meet him with the acid.
You never did anything to her. Never.
What could I do that would give me back my face? No, let her live with it. Maxie Finn, he found me like that, took care of me. All the while Nails here, he was looking for me. Nails, he always cared for me. Didn't you, Nails?
Yes, I did.
Now Nails takes good care of me. Sees that I have everything I need. And all I need's a quart a day. All I need and all I want. Nails is a good boy. He even sends my mother money every week. He's a good boy.
She's in Kansas City, your mother.
Yeah, we heard. Why Nails tried to stop you.
Well, why don't you? You could write to her.
No, letters can be traced.
Yeah, but she's worried sick about you. If you could only let her know.
What? Let her know what? You think I want to let her see me like this? You think she...
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kelly. You found me. Tell her. Bring her to see me. Make the rest of her days happy.
Yeah.
Kelly,
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
Apologize to Maxie Finn.
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Cathcart. Scoring by Matty Matlock.
The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven consists of Dick Cathcart on cornet, Matty Matlock on clarinet, Nick Fatul on drums, Ray Sherman on piano, George Bennett on guitar, Zeb Burnett on bass, Mo Schneider on trombone. The songs of Maggie Jackson were written by Arthur Hamilton. Pete Kelly's Blues is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service. Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A pair of hold-up men have been operating in your city. You know their method of operation. You know what they look like. Your job, get them.
It was Wednesday, June 8th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 10:14 a.m. when we got to the corner of Roberta and Mercury, the after-hours cafe.
Yeah, what'll be?
Like to see Harry Prentice?
Yeah, I'm him. What do you want?
Police officers. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, all right. About last night, huh?
Yeah. Were you here?
Yeah, sure was. I'm the only one that's got a key. Place is open. I'm here.
Yes, sir. Now about the robbery?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to know?
Oh, would you tell us what happened?
Should have read the papers this morning. All about it in there. Got a couple of copies if you want to see them.
No, that won't be necessary.
No trouble at all. Happen to have a couple of copies right here. Yeah, here, take a look right here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I'll read it to you. Last night at the After Hours Cafe, I wish I'd given the address. At the After Hours Cafe, 2 gunmen held up and beat Jeffrey Hanks. The victim was approached outside the bar, and when asked for his money...
Yes, sir. Now, we saw that. We'd just like to hear your version if we could.
Oh, okay. What do you want to know?
Did you see the men?
The gunmen?
That's right.
Yeah, sure. I told the other cops I did. Gave me a description and everything.
Uh-huh. Notice anything about their speech? An accent, maybe?
No. I asked them what they wanted. One, a big one, he ordered a scotch and a rocks. The other one asked for plain grapefruit juice, no booze, just the juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lucky I had it. Got a couple of cans in for vodka drinks. Don't get a lot of call for it. Guy drank all I had.
Mm-hmm. When did the victim come in?
You mean Hanks?
Yeah.
Oh, must have been about 8:30, someplace in there.
Mm-hmm.
Walked in, sat down.
Had you seen him before?
No, brand new face. Nice-looking guy, though. Kind you like to have for regulars.
That's all?
Yeah, quiet, good drinker. Doesn't bother the singles at the bar. Nice, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I had a place full of them. I wouldn't have no worries.
How do you happen to get mixed up with the other two, do you know?
Yeah, you mean Hanks?
That's right.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't paying a lot of attention. Poured him a martini, left him alone.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, lady type, was here. Was talking to her. Her and her boyfriend been having trouble. We belted her around a little bit. Not bad. Couple of scratches. You know what I mean.
I think so.
Well, she was asking me what to do. We've been friends for a long time, since I opened the place. Anyway, we was talking, so I didn't see what happened.
Yeah.
All I know is that the 3 of them got up and moved to the booth in the back. Ordered another round.
Uh-huh.
I hardly got the drinks back to the table, and they was ready for another one.
Go ahead.
Kept running from the bar to their table for the next couple of hours.
You hear anything they were saying?
No, not much. The one who was drinking scotch, he got a little plastered and loud. Told him a couple of times to shut up. Said I'd have to 86 him if they didn't.
Yeah.
Kept it up, so I told him to leave. Didn't take it kindly.
Why do you mean that?
Well, it started to get rough, telling me that they didn't have to take no guff from a barkeep.
No.
Well, I told him I wasn't drinking the grapefruit juice. I told him to get his friends out. He says, we're not causing any trouble. And I said, that's the way I want to keep it.
Uh-huh.
So he said for me to leave him alone. And I said to the grapefruit, I said for him to leave right then. I don't want you in my place, I said.
Yeah.
Well, and so Scotch on the rocks, he said, tell this cat to go hide his head. Like that, he said. And turned the bear loose. And I grabbed the both of them, threw them out through the door. O-U-T.
Yeah.
And I went back to the other guy, nice-looking one. He was pretty gassed by then. Had about 8 martinis. Asked him to leave. He did.
Yeah. Did you have any trouble with him?
No, sir. Just asked. He walked out.
Were the other two outside when he left?
Yeah, standing on the sidewalk. I told him to shove off or I'd call the cops. Old Scotch on the rocks. He said for me to go soak my head. Well, I was going after him, but I figured it wouldn't do no good, so I came back inside. A couple of minutes later, the nice guy, Hanks. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, he came in, all beat up, clothes torn, real mess.
Yeah.
Big cut right along here, forehead. Said he'd been robbed, wanted me to call the cops.
Had you ever seen either of the two men before?
You mean Scotch and rocks and Griffin?
That's right.
No, never did.
What if you take a look at this description, see if it's right? Here.
Yeah, sure. Glad to help her. Yeah, that looks about right.
Is there anything you can add to it?
No, just a couple of guys. At the bottom that stand out.
Would you know him if you saw him again?
Hard to say, you know what I mean.
Yes.
A couple of guys came in and ordered a drink. Nothing special. Not sure I could point them out for you. Anybody'd forget them.
Not quite.
Huh?
We won't. $11:30 a.m. We left the bar and went back to the city hall. We checked with the stats office and picked up the results of their latest run. They listed 4 possibles, but when we read the names, we were no closer to the hold-up men than we had been. The names were ones that we checked and cleared before. Frank and I went back to robbery. There was a message for us to see Captain Donahoe. We went into his office.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. No, as far as I know, there's nothing new on it. That's right. Uh-huh. They just came in. What? All right. I'll let you know right away. Yeah. Bye. Come on in.
Hi, Skipper.
Captain. That was Chief Brown. Been calling all morning.
Yeah.
You know what he wants? What do I tell him?
Well, we talked to the bartender. He can't give us anything.
What about the victim?
Not much there either.
Able to come up with a name?
No, said he didn't hear anything.
That's a big help.
Well,
sit down.
Thank you.
Cigarette?
Yeah, thanks, Skipper.
Smith?
Yes.
I got it.
Thanks, Joe.
From the beginning, what do you got?
Well, good M.O., good description. We got an idea of the line they're working, and that's about it.
What about stats?
Just picked up the new run, 4 names.
What's on them?
Clean. They all been checked before.
Got to be something around town on them.
Well, there should be, but there just isn't.
How about your informants?
No, they haven't been able to tell us anything.
Straight?
No reason they should lie.
Victims and witnesses seen the mug books?
All we got. They haven't been able to come up with an identification. Burton up at CII sent all the stuff he's got on the method of operation. We've checked it all through.
What about the places they could spend the money?
Well, we've been to Gardena half a dozen times. There's nothing out there.
What about Vegas?
Talked to the department over there. They're giving us all the help they can, but they haven't turned anything yet. We even got the racetracks covered.
Possible you missed something?
Sure, it's possible. I don't know what it could be.
If you knew, you wouldn't have missed it.
Yeah.
From the beginning, go over.
Okay. First report was made on, wait a minute. Got it here. Here it is. Tuesday, April 26th. Victim came out of the bar. 2 men stopped him, started a conversation, got him into a car, beat him, and robbed him.
6 weeks ago.
That's right.
And the guys are still running.
Next one was on Friday, April 29th. Same M.O., same description.
How often has it been happening since?
A couple of times a week.
You can't find a leak?
No, sir.
No rumbles?
None that we haven't run down.
Anybody in the office got anything?
We talked to Meade and Stromwell. They thought they had it made for us, but their lead didn't go anyplace.
That money they're getting isn't sitting in their pockets, being spent someplace.
We can't find the cash register.
I'll tell you this. The fellow they nailed last night, what's his name?
Jeffrey Hanks.
Yeah. Well, he's got some friends in the city hall. They're pretty upset about what happened. Called the chief this morning. He's been on me. I'm giving it to you. He won't be happy with excuses, and I don't want to give him any, so don't hand me any.
Right.
Boils down simple. I don't care how you do it. I don't care where. Just get it done. I want those 2 men, and I want them fast.
All right.
I know how it is. Now you do, too.
Yes, sir.
I don't like the pressure any more than you do. We're getting it all the way around.
People that are making the noise should follow us around for a couple of days.
That's the difference. They don't have to.
Huh?
You're getting paid.
Frank Frank and I went over every piece of information we had on the case. We reread the reports that had been filed by the officers at the scene. Statements from witnesses and victims were gone over again. The names the stats office had given us were run through R&I again. None of it did any good. We still didn't have a lead to the identity of the thieves. 3 days passed while we talked to informants and questioned other sources of information. On Sunday, June 12th, we got back to the office from talking to a bartender out on Olympic Boulevard.
Well, that's another one didn't go anyplace.
Yeah, you want to get the book?
Yeah, I'll take one.
I got it. Robbery Friday. Uh-huh. Yeah, Jack. Yeah, where's the place? Hmm? Wait a minute. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I guess the word's all over. Yeah. Okay, we'll check it out. Thanks, boy. Right, bye.
There's nothing in the book. They called, want to know if you could make it for dinner tonight. Got a barbecue plan.
You better call it off.
You got other plans?
That was McCready on the phone. He just got a call from a bartender out in Wilshire.
Yeah?
Woman crying in her beer. Says he figured we want to check it out.
What is it?
She said her boyfriend is one of our suspects. The bar Sergeant Jack McCready had mentioned was on the corner of Wilshire Boulevard and Ingram Street. There were 2 people in the place when we arrived. One, an elderly man sitting near the door, and the other, a middle-aged woman at the rear of the bar. We checked with the bartender, and he told us that he'd made the call. He went on to say that the woman had come in about 10 that morning. Since that time, she'd been crying and mumbling something about going to the police. Frank and I went back to talk to her.
Yeah? You're looking for something?
I understand that you want to talk to the police.
What's that got to do with you?
Well, my name's Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
How you do?
You're cops, huh?
What do you want to see us about, lady?
That bum Derwin, that's what it's about. Bum.
That's his name, is it? Derwin?
Yeah, real no good. Look what he done to me all the time, hadn't me? I think we was married. All the time.
What's his last name, do you know?
Holbrook. Derwin Holbrook. You like to buy me a drink?
I think you had enough of that, lady.
Well, that's where you're wrong. I'm supposed to show you don't know what you're talking about. And then you went to me at all. You haven't caught Derwin, none.
What's he done?
Hold up.
Ma'am?
Hold up. That's what he's done. All over town. Old Derwin's been holding people up.
See your husband?
Me? Derwin's wife?
That's right.
That's real funny. Now, that is. Me and Derwin married. I don't think I wouldn't do it. Not for a minute, don't think it. But it ain't true. Not at all. No, sir. Derwin is just a friend.
Uh-huh.
Been a friend for 12 years. That's a long time.
That's right.
Been holding hands for 12 years. But we ain't married. You don't want to.
Will you tell us about the holdups that he's been pulling?
You've been in all the papers. Oh, you haven't read it? All the papers. Are you sure you're cops?
Why don't you tell us about Derwin?
Lousy. All the time. Talking about how someday we'd get married. All the time. Talking like that. I got a couple of bucks put away and we'll take the big stuff. That's what he was all the time saying. It's a big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? Here's a couple of bucks and he takes off with another girl. Lousy bum there was. Just miserable.
Now, where'd he get the money?
Hold up. Like on the paper. I told you that before. He's the one you're after, beating up all those people in front of bars. He's pretty good at beating people up, you know. He's good at that. Not much else, but he's real good at that.
You ever talked about the holdups to you?
Oh, now, that'd be kind of silly, wouldn't it? Talking to anybody, let alone me.
Well, how do you know he's involved?
Well, just because I know, that's all.
What's this fellow look like?
The Derwin?
That's right.
I guess the person would say she was a real nice-looking fellow, I guess. That's what you'd say. I would.
Mm-hmm.
He's got dark hair. Kind of a little wave right here. You hear? See?
Yeah.
In front. Little wave.
Mm-hmm. How tall is he?
Oh, he's a big one.
Well, how tall?
About 6 feet.
Mm-hmm. How much does he weigh?
I don't know. I guess a couple of 100 pounds.
Is he fat or thin?
Kind of thin. Thin.
Mm-hmm. How old is he?
38. 38 years old. 2 years older than me.
2 years.
What color are his eyes?
Brown.
Has he ever been arrested?
Hmm?
I say, has he ever been arrested?
I don't know. Maybe he has. He's never said nothing to me, not a word.
Want to run it through?
Yeah, I'll check.
You gonna arrest him?
We'll talk to him.
Yeah. You do that. You tell him from me I think he's a bum. For 12 years, you didn't tell me when he gets a couple of bucks, we take a step. And then he runs out with another girl, lousy Irwin.
You know where we can find him?
I don't know. I guess he's home. I don't know the place else he'd be. Home.
Do you have the address?
Sure. It's 1827 half Margot Street.
What's that?
Can't you hear very well? 1827 and a half Margot Street.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Hillside 75321. That's where he lives.
Hillside 75321.
That's what I said. On the second floor, Margot Street.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any close friends that you know of?
Sure, the girl he walked out with. She's a close friend.
Any men?
Nope. Stern don't like nobody on his back. He likes to be alone. No fellas he's close to. None.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me a minute, lady.
Oh, yeah, sure. You go to his head. Tell the bartender to tell him another drink now.
What do you got?
Oh, I checked R&I on Holbrook.
How's he stand?
Found a couple that fit the description. One of them might be good.
Oh.
Done time for robbery.
Do you owe anything?
No, got out clean.
Wonder if he stayed that way. Frank and I left the bar and drove over to the Margot Street address. We checked with the landlady. She told us that Holbrook had moved in approximately 6 weeks before. She went on to say that he'd been behind in his rent, but that he'd paid what he owed and had given her the money for an additional 2 months. She said that she didn't know what he did for a living. He had few visitors, and the landlady couldn't tell us if he owned a car. According to her, he was in his room. Frank and I went up to see him.
Here it is.
Oh.
You said?
No. Derwin Holbrook?
Just a minute.
What do you want? Police officer.
Hey! You got no right to bust in here like this. There's nothing wrong.
Then you won't mind if we look around, will you?
Oh, go ahead. You won't find anything.
I'll check it, Joe.
No.
You tell me what you want. Maybe I can give you a hand.
You just sit still there.
Sure, I got nothing to worry about. Tear the place apart. Just make sure you put it all back.
Yeah.
Right where you found it.
It's clean, Joe.
I could have told you that.
Sure you could.
Want to let me know why you're rousting me?
You work for a living?
Why?
Do you?
No.
The way we hear it, you're doing pretty well with the money.
I guess you'd say that.
You mind telling us where you got it?
Wise investment.
That's it, huh?
Sure. I read the financial page all the time. A couple of bucks here, a couple more there. First thing you know, you're on your way to $1 million.
Yeah, well, the way it came to us, you might have made the money the hard way.
Whoever told you that's a liar.
So?
Sure. I got a pretty good idea who's got the big mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make any difference. You can't tag me for anything.
Why don't you tell us?
I will. You're beefing about the money. Well, you can't say I didn't make it from investments. I don't have to prove it. You do.
Mm-hmm.
You got to prove I didn't make it from investing.
I think we might be able to.
Go ahead.
I'll give you something else.
What?
I don't think you're going to like the interest. We took Derwin Holbrook back to the city hall and talked to him. For over an hour, he refused to admit any part in the holdups. We made arrangements for the victims to come down and see him. Witnesses were asked to special show-ups, but they failed to give us a positive identification. Holbrook's name came up on the overtime sheet, and he was released from custody. There was nothing we could do. Another week went by. Holbrook was kept under constant surveillance. Monday, June 20th. Frank and I were in the squad room.
Righty? Smith?
Yeah, Skipper, we're here.
Hi, Captain. What do you got? Your boys did another job last night out in West L.A.
We didn't see the reports.
Just came in. Got a meeting with Orma this afternoon. Be there.
Homicide?
Yeah. Victim died without regaining consciousness.
Any description of the suspect?
Enough to know it's the two fellows you're after. How's your hot suspect? What's his name? Holbrook?
That's right.
Be able to keep him this time?
No, I don't think so.
What's the matter?
Report says the holdup took place at 10:15.
Yeah?
Holbrook was asleep at 9. We rechecked with the team of men who'd been keeping Derwin Holbrook under surveillance. They verified the fact that the suspect had been in his room at the time of the robbery and that there was no way for him to have left the apartment. We went out to the hospital and talked to the officer that had been with the latest victim. He said that the dead man hadn't said anything to help identify his assailant. We talked with the bartender at the place where the beating had occurred. He remembered 2 men in the bar, and he remembered them talking with the victim, but he was unable to tell us anything more. Additional broadcasts were gotten out. At the meeting with Captain Lorman, it was decided that from that point, the investigation would be a joint operation between robbery and homicide. After the meeting, Frank, Captain Donahoe, and I met back in room 27.
Come on in. Sit down.
Yep.
Well, you heard it. Yes. How are you going to work it?
There's only one way, rolling stakeout.
Thought you tried that, Rob.
This time we use more cars.
Better work. This latest one's really got the corner pocket screaming. How are you going to set it up?
Well, that job out in West L.A. is the first time he's moved out of Central. I think we can figure he'll be back.
That's playing it the long way.
There's nothing left.
I'll buy it. How's it going to work?
Can we take a look at the map over here? He's been hitting in this area along here. Up to now, we've had it covered in through here and here. Now we can put additional cars on these streets and maybe over here, huh?
How about a check system?
It'll be kind of hard to work out, Skipper. We'll be in a three-way car. McCready and his partner will be in one. And that way we can keep tabs on what's going on.
When do you start?
Well, if we can swing it tonight.
Talk to McCready?
No, not the whole thing. We went over part of it.
What's he think?
He goes with us. It's the only way.
Then it better come through for you.
Hmm?
You don't get another chance.
At 7:20 that night, the rolling stakeout began. It continued for another week. Several arrests were made, but when the suspects were checked, they were ruled out as the ones that we were looking for. In the meantime, the hold-up men hit twice more in the area under surveillance. Bartenders started closing their places early. Pressure from citizens groups and newspapers got a little worse. Apparently, there was nothing we could do to stop the thieves. Tuesday, June 28th. We stopped for something to eat.
Now it's going to be another long night.
I hope we get something out of it.
Yeah.
Howdy, fellas. What'll it be?
Well, a couple of eggs over easy. I get it. A side order of bacon.
Well, thank you. Now, how about you?
Yeah, sounds good, Joe. I'll have the same. Only make my eggs straight up, will you? And I'll have a side order of ham.
Righto.
And 2 coffees. We bring them right away?
Sure thing. I'll get them for you right now.
Listen, I got to get home.
I'll have a cup of coffee. I'll drop you off.
Wife's going to be sore if I don't make it pretty quick.
Well, let her be sore. That's the trouble with women today. All the time trying to run our lives.
That's right.
Have your coffee. We'll meet my friend. You'll like him.
I feel so good. Maybe I ought to leave now.
Look, you'll be all right. Just take it easy.
Joe. Tall guy. That's a description.
Yeah.
Looks like he might be setting one up.
Let's check it.
Wife, you any trouble, stay with us. Some you want?
Wonder if you'd let us take a look at your identification.
Why?
Because I asked you.
Who are you?
Police officer.
Watch out.
Come on.
Shoving me around.
What's all this about? We didn't do nothing.
Now, don't worry about it.
You got nothing to hold me on. Nothing.
We'll talk about it downtown. Come on, let's go.
What's your charge? You got to make one.
Come on.
You got to make a charge. You can't take me without it.
All right, try suspicion of robbery.
Not for me.
You keep believing that fellow.
I will. You're out on a limb, cop. You got nothing. I'll be free in a couple hours.
You got it wrong.
Tell me about it.
We won't have to.
Huh?
We'll let the jury do it. We took the suspect back to the city hall. He was identified as Emmett Noonan. He refused to admit any part in the holdups. He wouldn't tell us who the friend was that he'd mentioned to the intended victim. A check of R&I revealed that he'd served sentences at San Quentin and at Folsom for armed robbery. We pulled his mug shot, and a team of detectives went out to check with the victims. It was an hour before they got back to the office. We talked to him, and then we went to see Noonan.
Decide to turn me out now?
No, not quite.
When are you going to give up, cop? You got nothing to make a charge on. You know it. I don't know how long you want to play this game, but I'd like to get home and get some sleep.
We just got word from the officers who checked your picture with the victims.
Yeah?
They gave us a positive identification.
Nothing different about me. Lots of guys look the same.
Why don't you come off at noon? We got you made and you know it.
I don't know anything of the kind, cop. You're saying one thing, I say different. It's my word against yours. We'll see who the court believes.
We got a head start.
How do you figure that?
Fits the way you work.
Any record I got, you can't mention in court. As far as they're concerned, I'm clean. You want to call it a day? We can all get some sleep.
What do you do for a living, Noonan?
I'm a salesman.
What do you sell?
Different things.
Name them.
Magazines, sometimes hosiery. Different things.
Yeah, when's the last time you worked?
6 months ago.
How have you lived since then?
I saved my money.
You know, you're in for more than a robbery charge.
I'm not standing that.
Man out in West L.A. died.
That's too bad. I didn't see anything about it in the papers. Only way I'd have known.
Who was the guy with you on the job?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know we'll get to him. Why not save yourself a lot of time?
I don't know nothing of the kind. You guys are out of your scope.
All right, Newman. Let's go.
Now you can unlock the door?
Yeah, this one.
Where are we going?
Main jail.
For how long?
Until they pass sentence.
You sound pretty sure.
We are. Come on.
It's too bad about you guys.
What's that?
How long you been working on these robberies?
A couple of months.
And I'm your pigeon.
You're the man.
Must make you feel kind of lousy. Be so sure and then find out you're wrong. You know, if I keep my mouth shut, you aren't going to have a case.
You know, fella, I'm going to tell you real simple. We can identify you positively. We got a dozen people who are going to get up on a stand and point you out as the man who knocked them down and walked on them. The time we get through with you, we'll have enough on you for a 5-minute deliberation.
You're ruling out one thing, Cop.
Yeah, what's that?
The jury. All I need is one person who won't go with the rest of them. One who doesn't listen.
You got it all figured out.
Sure. One person doesn't care, I got it made. Just one.
Well, then you're in real trouble.
Huh?
We'll find 12 who do.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 19th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Further investigation resulted in the arrest of Jerome Nathan Pollock as an accomplice in the robberies. Both he and Emmett David Noonan were tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. The jury failed to return a recommendation of leniency, and both men received the maximum sentence. They were put to death in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Novak for hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my place says. Pat Novak for hire. It's the easy way because down here on the waterfront in San Francisco, you can't afford to wait your turn. If you're going to make a living down here, you got to do everything you can. And you got to be out of the hen house by sunup. Even then, it doesn't work out always because you get trouble tax-free. It's like leukemia. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no way to duck it. You might as well try to start a conga line in the cathedral. I found that out Monday night when I met an old friend. It was the night before elections, and I was sitting in the office scratching married women out of an old date book when Sam Tolliver showed up. I hadn't seen him for years, but it was a nice, easy meeting. What other way is there when you're good friends?
You look just the same, Patsy.
Yeah. It's good to see you, Sam. Sit down.
Sure. Doing well, I guess, huh?
Oh, you get different stories. Where have you been?
All the hard luck stops. Syracuse for a while and Joliet. That's where I come from now.
Yeah? That's where they got a big prison.
Uh-huh.
When you came too far, Sam, you should have stopped in Oakland.
Huh?
That's right. If you're out here to play small robbery, you better think it over. It's a tough town.
Don't ride me, Patsy.
I'm not, Sam. But once you start losing them, it's hard to win again. I just thought you might want to know about San Francisco.
Thanks, but you don't have to worry, Patsy. I got a smart streak. I'm here mostly to ask a favor.
Yeah?
Can you spare me one for old time's sake?
Medium-sized. Go ahead.
I want to borrow one of your boats.
Did you come all the way from Joliet to borrow a boat, Sam?
If it's going to hurt that much, forget it.
I just asked. All right. When do you need it? Tonight?
It's to pick up a package in the bay about 9 o'clock.
Sure, I'll run you out.
No, it's a little different, Patsy. I can't make the trip. You'd have to do it for me.
The favor's getting bigger, Sam.
You'd have to pick up the package and bring it back here. I'll be waiting at 10 o'clock. I guess you won't buy, huh, Patsy?
I'm not impressed.
It'd mean a lot to me, Patsy. It really would. And you couldn't get hurt, honest.
Nobody gets hurt, honest. It's the other way I'm worried about.
Well, I wish I could tell you, Patsy, but I can't. You know how it is. Sometimes you can't, but... Well, it's that way now, but... You'd be doing me a real favor and you wouldn't get hurt.
That's what Henry used to tell his wives. All right, Sam. But you put out a bad story.
Well, Patsy, you have to go by the China Star. She's out in the stream. Just tell them you came for that package. They won't ask. Just tell them you want the package.
Yeah?
Talk to the captain. I'll be waiting here at your place about 10 o'clock. And, Patsy, it's important. Don't let anybody else have it.
All right. I'll see you here at 10.
Thanks, Patsy. It's a big favor.
We're old friends.
Yeah. We're old friends. Nothing wrong with them, huh?
No, there's nothing wrong with old friends, Sam, except sometimes they wear out on you. When Sam Tolliver walked out of there, I began to worry. I don't know why, because he was always a good guy. But if you leave good silk out in the ring, it'll shrink. Well, it was too late to change my mind now. I was going to get that package and say goodbye to Sam Tolliver. Only things didn't work out that way. You start with trouble and it never stops. It's like offering to buy aspirin for a two-headed boy. About 8:30, I took a boat and I started out into the bay. Halfway out into the stream, I had to give way to a tanker. After she throbbed by, I picked up the China Star, tied up at buoy 327. It was a broken-down old barge, so old I expected to find Noah hiding out in the bilges. Well, I went aboard, and they took me into the captain's cabin. It was going to be tougher than Sam thought. The old man had some questions, and he was about as smooth as a bag of fingernails. Right away, I got the idea.
What do you want?
I came out for a package.
Who are you?
What good will a name do you?
Who are you?
What do you care, mister? This isn't our dance. Just give me the package and I'll leave.
Keep shouting, tough boy, and when you're all through, tell me your name.
Now, look, I'm not out here to haunt your boat. You got the right face for it. I'm just passing through.
If you're running a small boat, you got papers. Let's see them.
Yeah. You're too handy in your own cabin.
Novak, huh? You a Polak, Novak?
Yeah, and it feels fine. How's it being a pig these days?
Don't get jumpy. I just asked. Who sent you here, Novak?
I'll forget you asked. Just keep the package. I'm going home.
You walk home on the bottom, then. Now, look, Novak, somebody steered you wrong. Maybe it was no questions once, but it's not that way anymore. Just want to keep the book straight. Who sent you?
Sam Tolliver. You need a pencil?
No, that's enough questions. You see, Novak, all you had to do was answer. You can have the package now, or talk some more.
I'll take it now. Where is it?
On the desk, behind you there.
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome, Novak.
The captain didn't like company. When he hit me, I dropped down to the floor like a piece of hard-working lint. The last thing I remember was Sam Tolliver sending me out to this boat. I knew then I had no more business here than second trumpet in a string quartet. I could hear voices and people moving around, but it didn't help much. You can get that kind of service in a tomb. Somewhere along the line, they moved me, because when I woke up, I was lying in a cloud of plateen on a couch in a different cabin. The class of people had improved. She was bending over me with a cold towel and a warm look. And from where I was, she had a figure like a shot of brandy on a winter night. When she said hello, you knew that all you had to do was send up a flare and relax.
Good evening. Welcome back.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
A little used up. I need recharging.
Here, put your head on my lap. There. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Forget the towel. I'll struggle along this way. By the way, whose lap is it?
I'm Ellen Morrow.
Where's your friend?
The captain?
I guess so, the brave guy, Axel Arm.
He's down getting your boat ready.
What's he doing, punching holes in the bottom?
He'll be back in a minute. The package will be ready and you can leave.
No, you keep the package. The last time I got a headache.
I'm sorry about that. It was a mistake.
That's what they told Marie Antoinette. By that time, her head was 40 feet down the street. What's in that package?
It wouldn't help if you knew.
You let me work that out, huh?
Work out the answer then.
How about Sam Tolliver?
Slow down, Betsy.
I'm not going that fast.
You're going the wrong way. I'll help you lick your wounds, darling, but I'm not going to get talky.
What do you got to lose?
What have I got to gain except your gratitude? I can get that any night with a couple of drinks.
How is he, Ellen?
How does he look?
Too comfortable. On your feet, Novak.
Yeah. You ought to rent that out, sweetheart. I'd sign a lease myself.
I'll finish the sweet talk, Novak. You get on your way. Here's the package.
No, I changed my mind about the package. You keep it.
Your boat's ready. Unless you want to get tossed in like a mackerel, take the package and beat it.
What's in it, and where does Sam Tolliver fit?
You asked once already with your head in her lap. You want me to sit down?
Well, you got brains after all.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought they were all in your fists. Yeah, you're still smart.
Take this package. Show him the boat, Ellen.
I'm going to remember you, mister.
Ellen's going to lead you by the hand through the dark. Stop beefing and settle for the simple pleasures.
I will. I'll remember you.
Concentrate on Ellen. You'll get a better memory.
I went out on deck with the girl, and as I got to the starboard side, I noticed her hair for the first time. The way you're liable to suddenly notice a flower after a hard rain. Her hair was red, and as the orange lights of the bridge reflected against it, it seemed like a prairie fire, away down in the valley, flaring up quick and then burning low again. The rest of her would have made a good prairie fire, too. It was the only good thing I could think of on the way across the bay. The water was as quiet as a drowsy caterpillar, and I had a chance to think. Why had they changed their mind about giving me that package, and how wet were Sam Tolliver's feet? Well, it must have been about 11:30 when I pulled into the pier and started on the run for my office. The lights were on, and I burst right in because I had a lot to ask Sam. But it wasn't Sam.
What's your hurry, mister?
I came here to meet a friend.
That's the guy laying in the corner. You don't have to hurry.
No, this isn't my friend.
He doesn't look like one. I'm Sergeant Grimes from Homicide. If you're Novak, you're in trouble.
Why?
A guy lying under your desk, dripping like a broken inkwell, and you trot out a question like that?
Well, it's a bum caper somewhere. I was supposed to wait for a guy named Sam Tolliver.
It might as well have been a streetcar. I'm not going to press you, Novak. I don't care. I'm just going to take you downtown.
Well, this boy quit too late. I've been in the bay the last 2 hours. You can check. I went out there to pick up a package.
The one you got in your arm?
Yeah, it's for a guy named Sam Tolliver.
Let's see.
Okay.
It doesn't say that. It says Mr. John Reedy, 720 Post Street.
I wonder what that means.
Let's find out. We'll take it by Reedy's place.
I got it for Sam Tolliver.
You can buy him another. We're going by Reedy's before we get downtown.
What's the matter with you? Do you want it on an 18-foot screen? I didn't kill the guy. I don't even know him. I don't even know this John Reedy.
Wait a minute, Novak. I believe you. I believe every word you're saying. Except this is one time you'd be better off lying.
When we left my office, I felt as if somebody had walked through my stomach on stilts. Oh, there were loose ends bobbing up everywhere, and you couldn't get to any of them. It was like chasing a spider with a bowling ball. With all this new stuff, I forgot about the ship. Who's going to worry about blood poisoning if he's busy having hemorrhages? I began to wonder more about Sam. Where was he? And how was I going to palm off that dead stand-in? Grimes didn't seem worried. We got into his Nash and headed for 720 Post Street. It was an apartment hotel, and Reedy lived up on the 3rd floor. On the way in, Grimes picked up a key at the desk, and we rode up in the elevator with one of those shifty-eyed little guys who'd sell his mother if he didn't have to fatten her up. When we got to Reedy's door, Grimes took over.
Open up!
Maybe he can't hear you, Grimes.
Nobody home. Let's go in.
Why? We don't know him well enough to sneak in.
I rate a hunch, Novak.
Okay. The light's on your side.
Leave it out. Let's look around.
Okay. The stray bodies belong to you, Grimes.
You go look in that set of bedrooms. I'll check over here in the library. Give me a yell if you see any.
All right.
Two of them. I got one by the desk. The other started down the fire escape. I'm going down in front. Take this gun and stand by the fire escape. He may get trapped and start up, so keep your eyes open.
I walked into the library. The window was open, and the curtains were blowing over the dead man's face. It was a good thing, because you can't split the difference with a service 45. I took him by the heels and dragged him away from the window. His eyes were rolled back as if he expected somebody to tap him on the shoulder and tell him it was all a mistake. His face was contorted and frightened, maybe a little embarrassed, like a deer caught in a traffic jam. Well, I stayed at the window about 10 minutes and watched the fire escape. There was no action there, and Grimes wasn't back, so I started for the door. I had company right away.
Hello, Novak. You move?
Oh, Hellman.
It's a big gun you got.
Well, ask Junior here on the floor. He thinks it's even bigger.
I'll check myself.
Sure, and it's going to be easy because it's right in the family.
Yeah?
Yeah. Belongs to one of your boys down in homicide.
Go ahead.
A sergeant by the name of Grimes steamed in here and knocked down Junior, and then he beat it down to get the other guy.
I don't believe it.
Well, talk to him.
That's why I don't believe it. There's nobody on the force named Grimes. On this one, you're all alone, Novak.
There's got to be a Grimes. The guy had on a uniform.
I don't care if he had on a playsuit, Novak. The guy's a phony. He's not from homicide. He's a killer.
That's what I meant, Hellman. I knew Hellman was right. If Grimes was on the level, he'd have booked me instead of coming up here. He came up to Reedy's with murder in mind. Even if they believed the story about Grimes, I was still on the spot. That made me accessory to murder. And I was going to look worse when Hellman found the guy down in my office. On that one, I had star billing. Oh, everywhere I turned, things were worse. I knew it was going to take a low-budget miracle to bail me out. It was like trying to give nose drops to a herd of elephants. Hellman seemed to like the idea. Hellman rolled the guy, and there was no identification. But he never works for nothing.
A few bucks in the guy, I'll put it in the safe.
The only safe you got has suspenders on it.
I don't like that, Novak.
Oh, you'd do anything for a buck, Hellman. If you got the right bid, you'd sell the tomb of the unknown soldier. Thanks, Hellman. I'm getting a big list tonight.
I can do all of that I want, Novak, because you're in the corner pocket now. I got a tip-off from the Chronicle to come up here, and I find you holding last right.
You got a bigger headache, Hellman. There's another stiff down at my place.
Huh?
That's right, Grimes again. He was sitting there when I walked in.
Where were you?
Out in the bay, picking up a package. It's right there on the desk.
What's in it?
I don't know. It was for a friend of mine named Sam Tolliver. He's disappeared, and Grimes brought the package up here.
I'll take it downtown.
You better tag by the China Star. That's where I picked up the package. It's out in the bay, so you'll need a boat. Even a guy with your complex needs a boat.
I'll touch all the bases, Novak. You just stay 10 cents away from headquarters. You can pay your own way into the can.
Yeah, well, that's what'll happen if I wait for you. I'll be standing out in the downpour.
That's right, Novak. If there's a chance, I want to see you get first prize.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be stuck unless I shop around myself because you got lockjaw of the brain, Hellman.
Yeah?
That wouldn't hurt you so much, but if it spreads, you're going to be in trouble. That's what I'm waiting for. Well, if something didn't happen soon, I was going to be about as embarrassed as a hostess with leaky plumbing. I was counting on Hellman to shake down the skipper of the China Star. And if that didn't work, I could close shop. I didn't have any leads. There wasn't anything I could do but sit on my hands. It was like taking your niece to a nightclub. I had to stumble around until something showed. So I looked up the only honest guy I know, an ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. Oh, he was all right until he found out sometimes you can feel as bad the next morning without a hangover.
I toured the town and finally found him at Lupo's trying to put the vineyards out of business.
Ah, Patsy, you're just in time to start the day off right. Mama Lupo, some wine for Mr. Novak. You can only have a quart. We're running low.
Look, it's almost midnight, Jocko. I got to talk to you.
We're not going to turn into pumpkins. You need some wine.
No, I don't.
Patsy, when you die, the artwork is going to be simple. On your grave, they'll chisel a picture of a pair of slacks, a hamburger, and a double malt.
All right, Jocko.
The final symbols of a decayed civilization, because that's as close as you ever got to civilization, a remote connection at best. Like a bookie, they love horses, but they die on a stock farm. It's the same with you and civilization.
You all through, Jocko?
I won't fight against your sober babble. What's the matter?
There's a dead guy down in my office.
A friend of ours?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. We'll miss the wake.
I'm going to get half hung by homicide. The other half is dead up in a Post Street apartment. Hellman thinks I'm the boy.
Patsy, I wish you wouldn't hang around me when you've just killed somebody. You tarnish my declining years.
I went out to the bay to pick up a package. When I got back to my place, instead of a friend named Sam Tolliver, there was a dead guy there, and a phony cop called Grimes.
How do you make the distinction?
He grabbed the package, and we took it up to Post Street. After a quick hassle in the dark, I'm standing over a dead guy in John Reedy's apartment.
John Reedy?
Yeah. Do you know him?
Most people do. He's running for office tomorrow. Is he the dead man?
No, I don't think so. What about Reedy?
He's running for a board job.
Yeah? Would anybody have a reason to work a plant on him?
Maybe.
What's he like?
Oh, a sort of liberal by marriage.
Hmm?
A reactionary with a rich wife. Supposed to be a good man.
Well, how about the opposition?
Oh, a lot of them are running. One is Simpson. He couldn't beat an asthmatic turtle across a tennis court.
Well, we're getting somewhere at least. If Reedy's good, the gambling dough would frame him to lose.
Yes, if politicians can ever lose. A murder in his apartment would look too phony, though.
Yeah, but maybe that package wouldn't. Jocko, you got to help me. I want you to check on the registration of the China Star and then nose around to find out what you can about tomorrow's election, will you?
If we lived in a monarchy, this wouldn't happen.
That fast double play has got something to do with this election. Now, hurry up, Jocko, and when you're through, tag by my place. I'll call you there.
Have you a bottle in the house?
There's a tap in the kitchen. That'll have to do.
No, thanks. Outside of a child in pain, the most pathetic sound in the world is running water. Good night, lover.
I left Jocko and ducked into a phone booth. When I called Hellman, he poured out news like a rotary press. They broke open that package down at headquarters. It was full of dope. Plain garden variety, the kind a man uses to forget either his wife or secretary. I was sure then the package was a plant on Reedy. Hellman didn't see it that way. He said the two dead men were Gunsel's, last addressed before San Francisco State Prison at Joliet. I needled him about that phony cop Grimes. Hellman said they just got a tip-off by telephone. Grimes was an ex-sergeant in homicide whose real name was Vic Rothery. I asked him who phoned in the tip-off, and Hellman said he didn't know the guy. His name was Sam Tolliver. I got out of the Chronicle morgue and looked up everything I could on John Reedy. All politicians' children sit on the floor. There was a picture of Reedy there with his family grouped around him on the floor. I pulled the clips on Vic Rothery. It was Grimes, all right. Well, that gave me something to work on, so I went on the prowl for Ellen Morrow. I found her running a dice game in a little after-hours joint on Eddy Street.
You want chips, Novak?
You don't want to play against yourself? Yeah, give me some.
All right. See how good you are.
Okay.
8's your point.
Yeah. You seen Sam Tolliver?
Make your point, Patsy.
That's it. Where's Sam Tolliver?
5. You're not even warm. You're not warm on Sam, either.
He left me hanging with a murder rap.
Your friend double-crossed you.
He double-crossed you, too.
Another 5. You're in a rut, Patsy.
He turned in Grimes. That's right, baby. They know he's Vic Rothery now. You still like Sam Tolliver?
No. Keep rolling, darling.
Is Grimes your boyfriend?
He used to be. I'm sentimental.
Where's Sam Tolliver?
The Herrick Hotel. When you see him, tell him I sent you.
I will if we talk that long.
There it is.
Hey, come on.
8.
That's right.
I guess I lose, Patsy.
I guess you do. Be seeing you, baby. She changed when I left. The first time out, she was alive and breezy like the Maine coast in July. But now she was broken up and lonely looking. And as I walked out, I thought of an old Dixie cup somebody had used up and thrown in the alley. Well, I got down to the Herrick Hotel, but Sam Tolliver wasn't there. Maybe it was better that way. I left a note for him, a short note that even a Mongolian idiot couldn't trip up on. If Sam was going to show his hand, he had to do it soon. When I got back to my apartment, Jocko was already there. He was giving a concert for the mice.
Oh, she pushed a baby carriage, she pushed a baby carriage in the merry, merry month of May.
All right, Jocko.
She pushed a baby carriage, she pushed a baby carriage, she pushed it for a Williams man who's far, far away.
Oh, stop it, will you?
Patsy, I wish you'd get rid of that radio and buy a good harpsichord.
What'd you find out, Jocko?
Nothing from the China Star. She weighed anchor and went to sea at 11:45.
How about Reedy?
Well, there's heavy gambling money against him. And there's talk about a last-minute scandal. All the newspapers had tip-offs.
Where was he tonight?
At a rally in the Mission District with his whole family.
Well, that'd leave time for a plant. They broke open that package. It was full of dope.
Oh, that makes sense. He was once under treatment for malaria. The drugs found in his apartment would make it look bad.
Yeah, I'll get it. Hello, Novak talking.
I hope so, because you got a lot to do.
What's on your mind, Hellman?
A girl named Ellen Morrow. Who killed her?
Did they?
About 20 minutes ago. Vic Rothery's picture was all over the place.
Yeah, they were chums. You better pick up Sam Tolliver. He's at the Herrick Hotel.
I'd rather have Vic Rothery.
Haven't you picked him up yet?
No, we're on our way out.
Well, you better hurry, Hellman. There won't be any voters left.
I thought Sam Tolliver was a friend of yours.
Well, that's the trouble with close friends. You give them the shirt off your back so they can see where to put in the knife. After Hellman's call, I knew we were coming up for the last hand. I met him, and we rode down to Vic Rothery's hotel. It was early morning, just about the time Dawn is too sleepy to get out of bed. In the pale light, Geary Street looked like a shabby old lady with a snootful, and Rothery's hotel was worse. Hellman flashed a badge on the night clerk, who reached over and handed us a key. It was a funny thing to notice then, but the guy's hands were short, and his fingers were peeled and stained yellow as if they'd been dipped in weak acid. Well, we rode up to Rothery's room. As we got out of the elevator and turned the corner, somebody ducked into Rothery's room. That was enough for Hellman. He started down the hall.
Open up in there.
Well, you got another customer, Hellman.
Open up.
Come on in. You're going to wake everybody up.
Hello, Sam.
Come on in. Don't mind the gun. It's loaded.
You're a handy cop, Hellman.
That's it. I'll close the door. All right, over near the window.
Yeah.
Go on.
Sure. You got an answer for Rothery here?
You too, copper, over near the window.
I ask you, you got an answer for Rothery here?
You're looking at it, mister. You know, Patsy, I'm sorry you came. I could bounce a few off of this guy with no pain at all, but it's going to hurt on you.
Don't kid me, Sam.
I don't know why you came, Patsy. You could have left me alone. I didn't mean to put you in for this. Things went wrong and you were in, that's all, but I didn't mean to do it, Patsy.
Give the man your gun.
You were a good guy to me, Novak. I'm sorry you drew the deuce. I'm really sorry because, well, you were a good guy to me.
Well, I'm not anymore, Sam. You got 5 feet to make up your mind.
I got it made up, Patsy. Now stay back. Let me try it out on him first.
You've had practice.
Stay back, Patsy. I'm in a hole and I'll burn my way out. You know that. Patsy, I'm in a hole. I gotta get out.
Don't kid me, Sam. I was your last friend. All you got now is the road.
Stay back, Patsy, please. Patsy, stay back.
Let that Sam.
I must have prayed wrong, Novak.
Yeah. Sorry, Sam. I'm a tough loser.
Yeah. You were right, Patsy. It's a bum down for a small robber.
For a while, you looked big.
Not for long, no.
No. You're a small-time bum, Sam, and you're better off dead.
I wouldn't argue it. I'm sorry, though.
I doubt it.
I guess that's right. I didn't try very hard.
How's your friend, Novak?
Let's go. The friendship's over.
Hellman finally pieced it all together. He got that skipper back and put him under the lights. The story was damp, but it fit together. They were all in on a deal to railroad John Reedy. Vic Rothery headed up a bunch to plant the dope in his apartment. But Sam Tolliver got anxious and decided to get the stuff for sale. He talked a couple of buddies into it and sent me out to the ship to pick it up. The captain smelled a switch and knocked me out long enough to get word to Rothery on the beach. Rothery got the guy in my office and the other guy that Sam posted in Reedy's place in case anything went wrong. That left only Sam on the other team. Rothery wore the uniform because it was an easy way to plant the stuff in Reedy's apartment. But the timetable went haywire, and he got tripped up by that tip-off call to the Chronicle. That's about the way it was. Well, Hellman asked only one question. How come Sam Tolliver headed for the girls' place and then Rothery's? I don't know. Except maybe that note I left Sam. How'd I know he'd believe a lie? Well, it worked out for everybody except John Reedy. He lost the election anyway. Jocko forgot to mention the guy was a Republican.
Novak for Hire was previously released by ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, for listeners in the United States, and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.